All right, I want to welcome everyone to The One Ring by Free League Publishing. We're going to play an adventure called A Troll Hole If Ever There Was One. This is from the Tales from the Lone Lands book. Now, we start, let me just clear the chat log. We start in the village of Bree. You find yourselves at the Inn of the Prancing Pony. The fire is warm, the beer is frothy, and the worthies of Bree have gathered in the common room of the pony to sing songs and make merry. This night there are a few groups of strangers as well as the locals. One of the first groups that you all spot as you enter, and I'll post a picture here, I'll send it to the chat as well. You spot a group of 3 humans sitting around a table. They wear the garb of merchants. Clearly these men seem to be having a wonderful time, enjoying the comforts of the prancing pony. You also spot at another table 2 rather dour looking dwarves. These fellows appear to be a bit gruff. They appear to be a little bit surly tonight. Maybe they're not in the best of moods. You find a table positioned somewhat in between these 2 groups near the hearth. I'm going to let everyone just introduce themselves to one another. Let's say the first one to sit down is going to be our fellow dwarf, Blaine. Blaine, go ahead and, if you like, you can give a quick introduction or just tell me what you're ordering from the innkeeper.
3 stout ales, and I'm going to take it over to their table.
For the 2 dwarves?
Yes, 1 for me, 1 for each of them. We're going to drink.
Give me an enhearten roll with a bonus die. So if you click on your character, if you click on enhearten, and then at the bottom it says bonus penalty, the 6s to the right of the 0 will be bonus dice. Go ahead and click one of those, and then you can hit roll, and it will roll that for you. Your target number looks like it's a 13. And you got the Eye of Sauron, which tends to be bad. There's also a Gandalf rune, but that counts as a 1. So you got a score of, it counts as a 0. So you got a score of 4. So it's not a success. So the dwarves, they appreciate what you're bringing them, but they seem to be a little bit unhumored by your approach. But they eagerly take the mugs. And the one on the left-hand side says, "Floki's my name. This here's Hornbori. We're back from a journey to the lonely lands north of Bree. We're glad for the firelight and stout hedge around Bree, but even better for the fine ale. What's a dwarf like you doing in parts like this?" As they begin to chug from their mugs.
I'm simply out adventuring in the world, looking to see what I can discover new. I want to explore.
Well, there are eerie things in the wilderness these nights. Although we've encountered no perils, we felt eyes upon us the entire time. Now, tell me, who's your rather diminutive friend here? And to hear a dwarf call someone diminutive has to be a little bit of an insult, but Drogo, you walk up to the table. What do you do?
So I'm walking up to the dwarves' table?
Or you could go to your own table that's near the dwarves.
Well, I think as a hobbit, I would have ordered myself some food first.
Okay, and what do you order?
Perhaps some muffins, maybe a little bit of tea on the side, maybe some ale to go with it.
The 2 dwarves look at your tea and muffins, and they have a look of almost absolute disgust, like, that's not even food. There's not even a bone in that muffin. How can that even be considered food? And they smell the tea, and it smells herbal and floral, and it's like you had just walked by holding a cup of swamp water. It doesn't have that bite, that bitter smell of fine stout ale, and they just look at you absolutely befuddled why someone would choose to consume those sorts of items.
I guess I'll sit myself down at their table then and maybe offer out some muffins to everyone.
They look at you kind of gruffly. This here table's for dwarves. but as you extend a hand with the muffins, I'm going to give you a roll here. You can make a courtesy roll if you like. Oh, you got a Gandalf rune. That's an automatic success. So if you roll that on the 12 side, in fact, you got 2 of them. So if you roll one of those is all you need. It automatically counts as a success, even though you only scored, a kind of a low score here. It doesn't matter because it succeeded. So Floki takes the muffin and breaks it open, and there's, let's say there's cranberries in there, and he's aghast. Fruit in bread. Aye. Give me something with a bit of heft to it. And he smells it. And his companion elbows him. Be polite, be polite. And he puts it in his mouth and starts to chew, and he pauses for a moment, and you see the stress and worry just melt off of his face. And he leans back in his chair, and he is recalling a finer time, a softer time, when he wasn't dirty from the travels of the road, but when he was enjoying the comforts of home. And he opens his eyes, and you notice they're rimmed with tears, as though he has been deeply touched by this wonderful taste of muffin. It's amazing what a muffin can do for a dwarf. There's a seat for you here.
Why, thank you.
Around this same time, you see a very savage-looking fellow, Rathar of the Red Shield, comes in, probably dressed in heavy furs, bearded, long-haired. Rathar, this is you're probably unaccustomed to dining in fine, comfortable places like this, but you know this is a place where rumors and adventure can be found. Where do you sit, and what do you order?
Yes, okay. I think Rathar would find his way to that table in between the 2 other tables.
Yeah. And from here, you've got a good vantage of everyone in the Prancing Pony, as well as a warm spot by the fire.
Right. You know what you're going to hear.
If you are trying to listen, give me a scan roll. Scan is used to just kind of survey your surroundings or to study something up close.
Yeah, I like to think he'd want to see if there's something out.
Yeah. So, not your best roll. It's kind of noisy in here. Had this been out in the woods, Rathar would have had no difficulty hearing this, but there's the bustle of conversation, the crackle of the fire. You can see this hobbit hoisting pieces of muffin with these dwarves that are very quickly becoming a fan of all things muffin kind. You do notice that the 3 men seated at the table seem to be enjoying themselves as well, and they look over at you with kind of a curious look, and one of them nods and as though acknowledging your presence, almost grateful to have some company here that is taller than 4 feet tall.
Good. Like-minded souls, perhaps.
A rather slender and agile elf, Lothiriel, comes in next to the Prancing Pony. Lothiriel, where do you sit and what do you order?
She's going to the bar, and she asks for some wine, and then she's looking around and seeing the party of like dwarves and a hobbit. She will approach them and say, "Maigwanen, may I sit with you?"
And everyone seems to be open to your company here. The innkeeper, upon giving you this fine glass of wine, almost seems enchanted, as though they don't receive many elves here. You are a bit of a novelty, and they're more than eager to have your company here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sit down at the table with the hobbit and the dwarf.
Give me a roll. I'm going to have you give me an awareness roll.
Right. So, okay.
And a Gandalf rune, automatic
That's
success.
good. Nice.
The dwarves are, again, somewhat taken aback. Ah, this was a private table but a wee bit ago, and now we've got to pull up an extra chair. So be it. And they look over at Rathar. Do you mind pushing that over here? And pointing to one of the chairs at your table. Would Rathar give up that chair to the dwarves?
Hi, sure. I'll join. Surrender the chair.
So just the chair, or do you go over yourself and sit at that table as well?
This is the dwarves. This is basically our
Yes.
party.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'd cast a look at that one group that kind of like I'm giving the cold shoulder. You know, those guys look like fun, but
Yeah,
I'm
they
very
just
curious about this.
they kind of shrug their shoulders, like, perhaps they prefer the company of dwarves.
It's a weird crew. It's elves, dwarves, hobbits.
And last of all, into the prancing pony comes a tall ranger of the north. These vagabonds, for lack of a better term, or wanderers, are often shunned in most communities because they seem to be not wild, perhaps not like Rathar is wild, but they seem to be bearers of ill fortune. Typically, you don't spot a ranger unless there's trouble about, and most of the people in town think that the trouble probably follows the rangers. But Malvagil, as you come in from the cold, it's already dusk outside. You step into the warmth, and you see the group building more and more members around the table of these two dwarves. What do you do? What do you order to drink or eat?
Yes, very tired from my journey through the wilds. I think I would order a cup of tea in the likeness of our little hobbit. And I think rather than join the party, I will just take a seat in the back and observe what I can.
Give me
Take the time to relax. I am had a very strenuous trek through the wilds.
Give me a scan roll as you are kind of taking in the scene. Probably have your back to a wall. I'm sure you are always on your guard. Give me a bonus die on that scan roll. Oh, that's okay. Go ahead and let me roll a six-sided die, and we'll just add that to it. So you got a 7, and we will add a 3, so 10. So that is still a failure. So as you are enjoying your tea and you're kind of listening into the conversation, you spot that another dwarf bursts into the pony, and this dwarf is rather dirty looking. Let me send a picture of this fellow. He walks in and calls out, "Any brave souls in the inn who'd like to earn their fair share of a great treasure, eh?" And he's scanning the room, holding up a hand containing a pouch of coins that he's jingling. And he looks at the large table with everyone there, and seeing the other dwarves, he kind of crunches up his nose. He looks over at Malvagil and at the other three men, almost skipping over the larger table. "Hey, anyone up to earn some treasure? Who'll be the first to join?" "Ah, excellent."
I want treasure.
"Ah, fellow dwarf. Well, as you know, we've a nose for gold. I'm on the trail of a buried treasure, but I need stout backs to haul it out. Brave souls who don't mind a week out in the wilderness. Who else'll do it, eh?"
This I can do. And Rathar would step forward.
Blaine, as you agree to join this venture, give me a riddle roll. close. You notice that the other two dwarves, Floki and Hornbori, they look almost disapproving at this fellow that walked in. And as you raise your hand, the Floki places a hand on your wrist and says, "Be careful what you're doing, son." And the man that burst in, the dwarf, says, "My name's Jari. Jari the Bold. Jari the Seeker of all things that sparkle in the night. Aye, perhaps you three," and he points at the three men seated at the table by themselves, and they hold up their hands, saying, "No, no, sir, we are but merchants. We've no business risking our necks for a little treasure. We do it the hard way. We earn it, coin by coin." And Jari scoffs, "Bah! Weak-minded fools. Who else? We've got the stout dwarf will be my companion. Likewise, this fellow that looks much like a bear. Who else would join?"
Drogo will lick his fingers clean of the muffins and volunteer.
"Oh, well, no thank you, my child. We've no need for children on this journey."
I am a fellow adventure seeker.
"You look to be more like you're in search of a bakery, I suppose."
Well, both can be true.
Give me a riddle roll, Drogo. Barely made it. As you mentioned that both can be true, you pat something at your waist. It is a weapon, and you are carrying a small short sword. Tell me about this short sword. Is this just something that you carry for looks, or has this ever been used, or is it even sharp?
Well, of course it is sharp. It has yet to be used in battle, but it is a worthy sword for an adventure seeker such as myself.
The dwarf Jari says, "Ah, I see you're armed for it. Well, will an elf not tread where dwarves dare to go? What say you, Longlegs?" And he points at Lothiriel. "Are you in for some treasure?"
I wonder to whom that treasure might belong.
"Oh, well, 'tis a long tale, and I'm thirsty, so I'll tell ye." And he comes over and just plops down at the table where you were all seated. He says, The treasure cache is hidden in a valley to the north of Bree. It belonged to me great uncle. Why, me uncle, he knows where to find the money. He knows where to hide the money as well. Now, what you must understand about me uncle is he didn't want to pay the taxes. If he brought this treasure back to the Blue Mountains, why they'd have taken everything he had in taxes and fares. And so what I seek, I seek to find this because me uncle left it. It's now mine. This treasure be buried, and let me tell you that this treasure amounts to the same as that old fellow that went east and stole the dragon's hoard. And it's about a week's travel, easy walk through the woods. We'll rescue me uncle's treasure, rest his soul, and we'll claim it for ourselves. I hear that there may be goblins about, and them goblins are likely to take that treasure what don't belong to them, but it belongs to me. So, if and you don't mind, I think that we're all agreed. I say we go, eh? What about you? And he looks over at Malvagil. You look like you could handle yourselves in the woods. Perhaps you'd come with us.
I would much like to get back out in the wilds. I suppose this sort of adventure is something I'd be up to. You could count on me, fair dwarf.
Malvagil, give me an awareness roll. As you are speaking, you notice another man come into the inn, and this fellow looks like a very poor farmer. He's dirty. He's grubby. He's got kind of a sad look on his face, and he kind of chimes in. Treasure? Yeah. I'd be one for treasure as well. If you're looking for volunteers, this sounds too good to be true. Easy money, I says. Now, I've heard of this dwarf and his uncle and this treasure. I'm from down south, and we've told tales of this. Oh, what fortuitous luck! Now, say, friend, and he points at Malvagill. Buy a fellow down on his luck a bit of a drink, a little ale.
Certainly, if you would are going to be one of our prospective party members, I would see that you are well fed.
He gestures for you to join him at the bar, to go and order that ale as he pats his pockets, clearly no coin upon his person.
Well, I will join him and come up with the coins myself.
Give me an insight roll as you do this. You get the sense that this man is a little bit. He's not drunk, but he's acting almost like he might be drunk. Like he's maybe doesn't have the best judgment. But he leans into you and says, "Hey, you and me, after we get that treasure, we could take out that dwarf, take it all for ourselves. Eh?"
Oh, I think you've speaking to the wrong fellow, friend. I wouldn't backstab one of my own companions like that.
Oh, it's just an idea. You see, splitting the treasure two ways is more for the two of us rather than splitting it many ways. But I agree. Yeah. Just sorry, it's the ale speaking. Yeah, I think this will be a great opportunity for all of us. Thank you much for the ale. And he goes and offers to sit at your table and listen to Jari, this dwarf, speak about his uncle's gold and about all the things that are sure to be found in that hoard. Gold cups and jewelry and coinage, as in barrels as big around as a hobbit and as tall as a man. You see a glint in his eye of pure lust for gold and treasure, and he seems to be eager and excited to have found company. After a few moments of conversation, and it's all settled then, he says, and hoists his tankard in agreement. He tosses a bag of coins on the table and says, just a wee bit to set your stake, so that if you need anything for the journey, you can go and have it. And as the coins spill out, you see this brilliant silver reflecting in the light of the hearth fire. As he leaves, the two dwarves, Floki and Hornbori, one of them looks at Blaine and says, "I do not trust that fella. That man is known to us. He was exiled from the Blue Mountains for theft and fraud. Do not trust that wretch." Would anyone like to do anything before heading to bed and journeying out the next morning?
I'm assuming we all have supplies and gear at the ready.
You do.
We don't
So,
need
yeah,
to
you
shop.
wouldn't need to purchase anything. One thing that's interesting about this game is money is not really tracked. You track like units of treasure, which could be anything: a bag of gold, a bag of gems. There are some equipment listed. It's mostly weapons and armor, but there's no prices. You don't really buy stuff. You might find stuff. It's more story driven than trying to acquire like monetary value. So you're more looking for the fame and the glory of finding this treasure, and you'll likely take whatever you need, but you don't track it down to the the smallest coin. You just say, I have 3 units of treasure, and that's as much as my pony can carry. Maybe you go bury some somewhere for another day, but you wouldn't need to go and go shopping. It's just assumed, yeah, you go out and you pick up rope and rations and whatever that you might need. So everyone would have whatever they need for the adventure.
Excellent.
Would you like to do anything else before heading off to bed?
And I talk to the other dwarves aside, find out why they say this about him. What details can they give me?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a riddle roll with a bonus dice. A success. 'Tis said this Jari was accused of tomb robbing and dealing in relics from lost Moria. This is a crime in the eyes of the long-bearded dwarves. I admit that associating with Jari tarnished the good name of me own brother, Flonar, and I warn you that Jari brings ill luck to those who travel with him. And Hornbori kind of looks at Floki and nods his head in agreement. You notice he doesn't say anything. It's kind of like Penn and Teller. One of the guys does all the talking, the other guy just nods his head. But I'm not to tell a dwarf what to do. A dwarf will do whatever a dwarf feels is best, but just remember, I warned ye.
Thank you.
Aye. Now, Malvagil, that man that came and sat with you, he introduces himself as Diarmok. And Diarmok's got a very sad, somber look about him. And the entire time, as everyone's talking excitedly about the treasure, you notice that he seems to be getting more and more anxious. Give me an insight roll, please, Malvagil. Oh, a Gandalf rune. That's a success. You distinctly get the sense that Diarmok he's not just nervous or worried about what lies ahead, but it's almost like he's carrying a burden that he is not comfortable sharing with anyone. There's an aspect to him that he seems to be keeping hidden. You don't get the impression that he is deceiving you, but just that there's more to his story than what he gives on.
I will mention to him, say friend, how far south are you from? These coins, they have horses. Would you be from Rohan, perhaps?
Oh, I come from the near south, beyond Dunland, from the border of Gondor's western marches. The trouble and shadow in the south has driven us to safer lands. You see, it's not safe to be farming out there. There's all sorts of factions vying for power, and I'm just one to try and plant a field. My kinfolk and I, we left the south and traveled north, and we were waylaid by trolls along the way, and I was the only one to escape. I do not know what became of my family, and I suspect that, well, I can't even say what the trolls likely did to him, but I'm trying to move on with my life, and oh, yay, this is terrible. Oh, and he begins to tremble as though he's on the verge of tears.
Oh, yes, it seems this is a most unfortunate story, my friend. Perhaps your fortunes will change.
Give me an enhearten roll.
And I will leave him a few silver pieces before retiring to rest for the night.
He takes the silver pieces in his hand, and he can't even make eye contact with you. But he kind of whispers, and loud enough for you to hear, but very quietly, he whispers, "They ate my children. I know they've been eaten. What a terrible father I be. Ripped them to pieces. And I need you, Malvagil, to make a valor test, or you will take a point of shadow at hearing such a terrible tale. And this point of shadow, if your shadow points exceed your current hope, then you will become miserable and your dice rolls get a little more difficult. So give me a valor test. And you will find valor up at the top of the character sheet, top right. You're going to take a point of shadow. I'm going to add that to your character sheet. There we go. And you head off to bed. What about Blaine and Drogo? Do they do anything before heading off to bed? You want to get an early start, it would seem, so you don't want to be up too late carousing. And besides, it would seem that the Prancing Pony is nearly out of muffins.
Oh, well then I guess I have no choice than to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the rack.
As you head off to bed, you're just out of earshot, and the proprietor brings out a big plate of cookies that he had made, but at that point,
Do I
Drogo
smell
had...
them?
Give me a scan roll with a penalty die. Of course, your scan is already 0, so it won't even matter. But if you get a Gandalf rune, it's the only way you can pass this.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh.
No, that is not. So, yeah, you do not smell those cookies,
Oh.
but they get passed around. In fact, they're even free that
What?
evening. I know.
Whatever.
Just a hobbit's luck. What about Rathar? What are you doing while all this conversation's going on?
Yeah, I think he's pretty eager to get on the road. You know, maybe there's a cool story to tell in this journey, so he's probably just gonna get to bed early.
Yeah, you definitely are keen on getting out there and finding what there is out in this wide world. You're a bit of a wanderer, eager to find, make new discoveries, find new places. Lothiriel, how about yourself? Is there anything else you would like to do before heading to bed?
Luthira would think if she might knows some history about the location he was telling about, like a valley north of Prey. Is it like a part of the Weather Hills, or like
Yeah,
is it more north
give
even?
me a lore roll. Excellent question.
Okay. There you go.
All right, great success. So, based on kind of what Jari has said and your knowledge of this area, it does sound like it's probably at the northern end of the Weather Hills, and you estimate it's probably about a week's journey. But you are likely to spot famed Weathertop along your journey, which you know is a site that always instills a certain sense of awe in you. You would know as well that because of your one of your distinctive features, you have enemy lore trolls. You tend to know about trolls. Yep. You know that there have been rumors of trolls in the area having come down from the north, and you have a suspicion that it would not be out of the ordinary to encounter them. And so you would be on your guard, and especially at night. You know that trolls cannot bear the heat of the sun or the light of the sun, and so during the day you should be fine, but at night is when you would want to make sure that you're setting guard and just being cautious. There are terrible things out in the woods, and trolls would be one of the worst.
Yep.
As you all head off to bed, with dreams and visions of loot and great abundance in your mind's eye, you are awoken early by by the smell of breakfast. I think Drogo's probably the first one down there
Definitely.
to get breakfast. The innkeeper tells you that Jari left instructions that he would be just outside of Bree in a sheltered dell to the north of Bree Hill. And you find him crouched over a campfire, merrily frying up a breakfast of bacon, sausage, and eggs. So you've already eaten, but I think Drogo would have no problem helping himself to Jari's meal. In fact, he holds up the plate. Come on, let's get ourselves well fed. And he jumps up. Friends, eat, eat. We have a long journey ahead of us before we find my great-uncle's treasure. So let us put a little food in our bellies ere we march.
Well, don't mind if I do.
And in fact, you just start ladling fried eggs and bits of sausage and bacon onto a plate. And he looks at you with amazement, like, the belly on that thing is never ending. As we head north along the edge of the Chetwood, and I've got a map. Let me take us to the map here. The scene should change. If you need to zoom in on Foundry, you can either do your mouse wheel up and down. You can do page up and page down. We'll zoom in. If you need to drag the screen, you can hold down the right button and then drag, and it will move it for you. I'm going to ping. So here's Bree right here, and then just north of that is the Chetwood. And Lothiriel, you suspect that we are headed somewhere to the north of the Weather Hills, maybe somewhere around here or here, just to the east of Fornost, not quite to the North Downs you suspect. We are going to do a journey. This is a special mechanic in the One Ring. I'm going to take us to a journey page. Now we need to choose roles, and I'm going to pull out tokens for everyone, and you can place yourself where you want to be. We can only have one guide, and that person will make the rolls to basically see if we find our way. Everyone else can be either a lookout or a hunter or a scout. And multiple people can do lookouts, hunters, and scouts, but only one person can be the guide. So I will let you all kind of sort yourselves where you want to be on this journey. Blaine will be a lookout. Just for purposes of the mechanics, the guide will make a travel roll. So maybe whoever has the best travel would probably be well suited to being the guide. I know Rathar is favored in travel, so he would get two 12-sided die.
I'm favored, but I've only got one diamond.
So you would roll 2 12s and 1 6. And Malvagil would only roll 1 12, but 2 6. So probably between the two of you, one of you would be the best at that.
Isn't it?
Well, what would be a scout and a hunter? What checks would that be?
So if you are a scout, it's usually going to be explore, and hunters are going to be hunting. Your explore and both hunting are the same, but you're more, well, I don't know if you're more likely to get explore because your target number is lower.
Lower target number, yeah.
However, you have in your equipment you have a fishing net, and if you can use that to make a hunting roll, you'll get a bonus die. So I think hunting's probably going to be a little bit better for you.
Okay.
I think Rathar...
I'm pretty bad at Explorer, and I'm like, I've got 2 diamonds in hunting, but I'm not favored. So I'm not particularly good at either of those. Can anybody be a lookout? What was lookout again?
So lookout is going to be either awareness or scan are kind of the most important for lookouts. And you've got 2 in
I
awareness.
can probably go for awareness, and then you can do something else.
So maybe Rathar could do...
I would be bad at
hunting.
hunting and scouting. I would be terrible at both of those. I have nothing in Explorer, and, well, I do have 2 diamonds.
Yes, Rathar might be the better hunter. Maybe Malvagil as the guide. What's your travel? You got
My hunting and my explorer are both pretty good.
And what about
my travel is only 2.
what about Drogo? Drogo's not bad at travel. Explore is kind of terrible.
Pretty
Hunting
much
is kind
everything
of
that
terrible.
we need here is
Yeah.
terrible.
I'll just let you decide where you want to be. There's a good chance you won't even be called upon. Oh, so we can only have one guide, so Drogo would have to go somewhere else.
Okay.
I think maybe a lookout or a scout would probably be better.
Sure.
The only thing you're going to hunt down is a bakery, most likely.
Yeah.
All right, and so then what we do is normally there's a whole different sheet and we would draw a map and we would determine where we're going to go. We're going to kind of extrapolate that. So the first thing that's going to happen is the guide needs to make a roll, and so the guide will make a travel roll for us. If you succeed, then we travel roughly 3 hexes. If you fail, you travel 1 or 2 hexes, and then something happens. So something will happen. Let me make a roll. Let's see here. We're going to take the better of the 2 die. So 11 is not good. So 11 is actually the Eye of Sauron. So we're going to take the 9, which is going to be a shortcut. And so we need to find out who the target is, and if they succeed on their roll, we will find the shortcut. So we roll a 1d6. The target is going to be 5, which is the guide. So Malvagil, you need to make either a lore or a travel roll. If you succeed, then the length of the journey will be reduced by 1 day. And you got an Eye of Sauron. So your shortcut ends to be not quite that short. In fact, you lead us basically into a swamp. And the going's a little rough, and Jari kind of looks like at Malvagil. I thought ye'd know these parts. You led us straight into a swamp, and he's swatting at mosquitoes and seems to be rather gruff, but then he seems to come under better spirits as he begins to speak of the gold that will be found. And the journey doesn't seem quite so difficult when there's a reward at the end. So let's do another day of travel. So I will have Malvagil make a travel roll. That is a success. So we're going to travel 3 spaces. So we managed to do a little better this time than we did yesterday. We'll roll to see what happens, and we get this is a mishap. So let's see who the targets are, and if the targets fail, then we add a day to the journey. So the targets are going to be 3, which is the lookouts. So Lothiriel and Drogo, you need to do either awareness or scan. And then we'll determine what the mishap might be. Okay, so, and it says if all the targets fail. So all the targets did not fail. So Lothiriel, you are looking and you spot another swamp. And Drogo seems to be of the mind like, nah, it's fine. What are the odds there'd be 2 swamps here? But your keen eye says, no, we need to avoid that. And since you got a success on that, we managed to avoid stumbling into a second swamp. Let's do one more roll. So Malvagil, I'll have you give me another travel roll. Oh, and a Gandalf rune. So automatic success. So let me see. We're going to travel enough days. Let's see what the event is here. It will be. This is another mishap. So let's see who the targets are. It is going to be the hunters. So Rathar, I need a either athletics or a hunting roll from you. And a Gandalf rune, excellent. With a 6, with a special success. So not only do you avoid the mishap, but you manage to bring down some game. And as the rations, because you did bring a hobbit, the rations were running low on the third day of basically a week-long journey. But you managed to bring down a boar, and it's roasted over the fire that night. Quite delicious. Everyone's spirits are raised by this. As you're heading north, Jari engages everyone in conversation. He asks, where you come from, where you've gone wandering, and what you might do with that treasure. And one night, after you've eaten the boar, he says, I'm going to go scout ahead. I'll be back. Stay near the fire. You'll be just fine. And he heads off into the woods just as the sun is setting. Does anyone take any interest in him, in his sneaking away for the night?
I'd like to try to follow him if I can.
Yeah. Give me a hunting roll, Blaine, and you'll have a 1 die penalty because Jari is quite elusive, quite cunning.
That he is.
You lose track of him after about 10 or 15 minutes. And did anyone else go after Blaine or do anything else at the camp? Drogo's probably staying near the fire, maybe
Definitely.
brewing a little kettle of tea.
I like to think Rathar was probably doing some kind of watch and maybe seeing the dwarf sneaking off.
Yeah, give me an awareness roll from Rathar.
Close.
You kind of you're mindful. You've heard Lothariel mention that maybe there's trolls in the area, and so at night you are particularly on your guard, and you hear the occasional crickets and sounds like that. But you hear a bird call off in the distance, and it's kind of a mournful call. You just barely hear. It's kind of crying off in the woods, and you think, it's another swamp is around here, but no sign of trolls or their passage. Diarmok, sitting here near the fire, begins to slip into despair again. And he's looking around at everyone now that it's been several days in the journey, and he's just shaking his head, and he's got his hands over his face, kind of running his hands through his hair, and he just keeps whispering, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, to himself.
Is there anything?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I will approach him with a cup of tea and ask him what's wrong.
Give me an enhearten roll with a bonus die. Not your strength. Just don't roll an Eye of Sorrow.
Can I use hope on this?
Yes, so if you want to use hope, that'll take one of your hope points away. Do you have a distinctive feature that would help you with this? Your distinctive features are faithful and honorable. What are you trying to do by giving him this tea? You're trying to comfort him?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that would be faithful. So you can click on the inspired. So that will spend 1 point of hope, but you'll actually get 2 bonus die for that.
Awesome.
Success. As you bring him this tea, he looks at you and says, I've got to get something off my chest. Sit, friend. And as he drinks the tea, kind of slurping it, I've only known this dwarf for about a day longer than you. He paid me to bolster his attempts to recruit adventurers, and I fear there's dangers in this hidden valley. He had me enter Bree separately to ensure that no one would think we were in on it, but I'm so sorry. I've got you mixed up in something terrible here. How does Drogo respond?
What do you mean by something terrible? We're just hunting for treasure, aren't we?
Give me a riddle roll. Oh, nice. Gandalf Rune to the rescue. Look, there's more to this quest than what was said at Bree. The valley to the north contains little treasure. It's home to a band of foul trolls who capture and eat people. They waylaid my family and devoured them. I met Jari as I wandered, bereft and lost. He came up with this tale of lost treasure in order to recruit some stalwart adventurers. The real goal is to slay these trolls, not to find dwarf gold, although, he assures me that the trolls probably have a fortune worth taking. But I'm sorry, there's grave danger ahead.
Well, thank you for telling me this, good fellow.
It feels good to get this out in the open. I'd hate to see something happen to you, little Drogo.
I'll get him some more tea.
Malvagil, you and Lothariel are still here, probably around the fire. What are the two of you doing while Drogo is speaking with Diarmok?
Would I have heard that bird call?
Give me a roll. As a ranger, you are very likely to have heard that. That would be a... Let's do either an insight roll or... no, let's do an awareness roll. Or hunting. I'll let you choose either one.
I think they're both the same, so I'll do awareness.
You did hear the call. You can't quite place the bird. It's probably one of these night birds. Come out at night and feed when there's fewer predators around. But you hadn't heard that before during the journey. It could mean that there's perhaps a nest nearby, maybe eggs, something else to fortify your travels, or give a good breakfast to Drogo. What about Lothariel?
I think the boar will suffice.
Yeah. So Lothariel, you hear the conversation that Drogo has with Diarmok.
Okay, if I hear that, so I would wonder if there's again specific in this area we are currently in something why the dwarf will sneak off.
Give me an awareness roll as you maybe survey the area for places you think a troll might hide. You have lore in this, in troll lore. You might know good hiding places for trolls. Go ahead and give me a roll for that. You can either do awareness, or I will let you do a lore roll, which you are.
Okay, then
lore's
I will
probably better.
definitely do a lore. Yeah, much better. There you go.
Excellent, Gandalf Rune. You know that if there's trolls in this area, there are hills around. They're likely going to be in a small cave. They'd have to have some place to hide. It'd have to be underground. Where you're at right now, there's not a lot of hills, but you see hills up in the distance. You think within probably a day or two, you're going to be at the destination, and this could be an area where trolls might dwell.
Okay, then she's also joining Bobo and what was the man's name?
Diarmok. Let me
Diarmok. Yeah.
put it into the
Yeah.
text here. So
Yeah.
Diarmok
And yeah, she's saying. So sorry, but I overheard what you're saying. Do you have any clue why this dwarf wants these trolls to be slain?
give me an enhearten roll.
Horton.
And I'll let you put a bonus die on there.
Okay. How do I put the bonus die? Oh, there it is. Okay. This. Correct.
Diarmok he's very, very upset, and he says, all I know is trolls are terrible, terrible things. They kill and plunder, and they break up families. They're just awful. About 30 minutes later, Blaine, as you're out trying to follow Jari, you see him returning, and he's got a big grin on his face, and he comes over and claps you on the shoulder and says, "Aye, we'll be into the treasure within a day or two." Give me an awareness roll, Blaine. You notice that, kind of curiously, there's no mud on his boots. You would think, if he's tromping out in the brambles and the weeds and the grass, that maybe he tromped through some wet patches, some mud. You are nearby a few swamps, but there's no mud at all on his shoes. And you just find it kind of interesting that he seems to be quite clean for having tromped through the woods for quite some time, for an hour or more.
That I do.
The next,
Can I point that out
sure,
to someone else?
Who do you point it out to?
The Hobbit.
Drogo, give me an insight roll. Yeah, you're not surprised, because you know that you wouldn't go tromping through mud. That's not, becoming of a hobbit. You try to keep your clothes in, fine condition, and the thought of getting mud on your traveling boots is it's terrible. You're cleaning them as often as you're wearing them, which is very uncommonly. Most of your traveling is just done around the Shire, maybe to stop at someone's house for lunch and then someone else's house for dinner.
Right.
And if there's not a trail, you're not likely to travel there, and you would expect that Jari's doing the same, just walking along trails and not going, off country like Malvagil or Rathar might do. Jari sits down, and he just seems to give everyone kind of a knowing look, like, "We're almost there, my friends. A day or two more, we'll have the treasure in our hands. We'll all be rich." The next day, as we travel, I'll have Malvagil give me another travel roll. This will be the last day of the journey. Great success. Excellent. Let's see what we get here. We're going to take the 8. The 11 is actually the Eye of Sauron, so it's going to be a shortcut. Let's see who the target is. The target is going to be the guide. So Malvagil, you need to make either a lore or a travel roll to try and find this shortcut. Oh, nice. You do find the shortcut. In fact, you find with a success, you find a little more than that. You find a tree about half a mile from here, and the bark along the base of the tree looks to have been scraped off recently, and you see big flecks of bark on the ground. You estimate that it's probably been there less than a day, that something must have come along and either rubbed up against this tree or did something, and the bark seems to have been not purposely stripped, but kind of scraped off all along the trunk up to kind of the lowermost branches of this large tree.
I will. I know the elf is knowledgeable about this. I will ask them what they make of this tree.
So Lothariel doesn't even need to make a roll. You know that this is unlikely to be trolls. That trolls wouldn't, unless they're rubbing their back on something. But that would be much more damage than what you see here. This is almost like maybe some smaller animal came over and tried to either sharpen its claws on the tree, or maybe a small like a wolf or a small bear was rubbing up against this tree. But it's definitely not troll sign.
Hmm.
The the day goes rather uneventfully. We do manage to find a shortcut, and this last night of the camp, Jari seems to be more and more eager, and Diarmok seems to be more and more apprehensive. And Jari rubs his hands together. Tomorrow be the day. We'll get a start. We've no need to get up early. We'll get there in plenty of time. Get a good hearty breakfast. There'll be lots of hard work carrying all that gold out. So get a good night's rest. And on the morrow, just a short walk. We'll be there and be on our way. And Lothariel, you know that you are nearing the hills. That you're probably more than a short walk. You think, gosh, it's probably going to take a little longer than that. Give me a travel roll, Lothariel.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you think it's not just like an hour. It's got to be like 6 hours before we get to those hills. Just judging by looking at the hills from where you're standing, it's a little bit longer than a short walk.
Yeah.
Do you do anything that night? In fact, that night again, Jari says, "Well, I'm gonna go scout about, make sure that we're all safe. We can light a fire here. We're in a nice little sheltered bowl. No need to try and hide ourselves. This will be just great. One thing that we probably ought to be doing is not worrying ourselves about shadows that lurk out here. I seen how you look. I seen some of you, fear in your eyes." And he points at Diarmok. "I told you, 'tis nothing to worry about, nothing at all." And
If he's gonna head out again, I'm gonna see if Rathar wants to join me and both follow him.
are you guys trying to be sneaky about it?
I think I would advise
Yeah, I
stealth.
would assume, yeah.
Why don't you both give me a stealth roll with a bonus die each, since you are kind of aiding one another using your knowledge of the wild. So Rathar, you can be as quiet as a mouse when you need to be. In fact, you would almost put your skill at stealth at being right up there with the Hobbit. As Malvagil is walking through some reeds, you hold out your hand to get him to pause, and you urge him to step a little bit to the right where the reeds are a little greener, more likely to bend rather than rustle or break, and he helps to guide your path through that patch. You're able to follow Jari's trail. He seems to be going almost in a straight line. He kind of veers off to the left and then back to the right, as though he's trying to find the path. As you get a little closer, I'll have Rathar, since you succeeded on that stealth roll, give me a hunting roll with a bonus die.
Ah,
You listen and you hear again that strange bird call. You're nowhere near a swamp, but you can hear kind of that wailing cry. Malvagil, give me a riddle roll. That was terrible.
Yeah, I'm not very good at riddles.
Yeah, that bird. It's just there's something about it. Maybe this.
Could I do it
isn't-
as a hunting roll?
Um, yeah,
Perhaps I'm more
yeah.
in
If you
tune with
pass
animals
hunting,
that
I'll
way.
give you some different information on that. But there's just something just it kind of strikes you as odd about. Oh, okay. So hunting, you know that sound. You know that's a curlew, and curlew are kind of long-legged, long-billed birds. They're often around swamps, and that explains why we've been hearing this. But there's no swamps here. If you were going to go hunting this bird, you would go into the marshes, but you are several days away from the marsh, so this bird must clearly be off course and perhaps lost. And you pause, and you hear it again. Just a quiet cry. And there's just something strange about that. In fact, you're not at all convinced that bird is not perhaps in danger. It almost sounds like it's distressed.
Perhaps try and find the bird. If possible, following the call.
Yeah, using the call to help guide you, give me an explore roll. You hear the call for about another 10 minutes as you and Rathar are traveling, and then you think it's just over this next little rise, and as you begin to approach, several minutes pass and you don't hear it, and you pause and you listen, and there's no call at all. And Rathar, give me an awareness roll. You are almost surprised when you hear a sound to your left in the brush. Almost something walking cautiously and slowly. And then you hear a gruff voice. My friends, I told you I would scout. And you see Jari kind of come in, look at the two of you. Let us go back to camp. We're all safe here. And he kind of nudges you back to camp, takes a few steps towards camp, and turns to look at you. Are you coming?
Aye. Yes.
All right.
I will also follow along the way. I want to ask Jari, what that if he heard that bird call.
Oh, birds hoot, owls hoot, ducks quack. Who knows? Animals be doing animal things. 'Tis but a wisp of cloud, he says.
Does he seem, I guess, suspicious when I ask him this?
Give me an insight roll. Not a bad roll, not a success, but he seems a little bit perturbed. Almost, like, you didn't trust me to go do the scouting. You got to come after me, like I can't do it myself. But he doesn't seem suspicious, just more perturbed, maybe a little upset. Annoyed is probably a better word. As the three of you are returning to camp, Drogo, Blaine, and Lothariel, you are there with Diarmok. And Diarmok tonight is almost terrified. And he's visibly ill. He can't eat. He's got no appetite. Doesn't want anything to drink. Kind of swallowing hard, like his mouth is dry. He's clearly stressed. He looks at Blaine and says, "Look, whatever happens tomorrow, I'm sure everything will be all right. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Give me an insight roll, Blaine." Hey, there we go.
Good roll.
Gandalf to the rescue. Yarmok looks at you and he shakes his head. No, no. The truth. The truth. Me family is being held hostage by trolls. If I do not bring them food, victims, to eat, or if Jari warns you that I've failed, the trolls will kill me children. I don't know how Jari talks to the trolls, how he lets them know, but if the trolls do not receive a message from him, then all is lost. This is my fault. I brought my family to this desolate land and led them straight into the clutches of the trolls. My conscience will not permit me to continue. I am already lost, but I will not damn others. Look, before Jari gets back, go. Go south before the trolls come after you too. My family's lost and so am I. You leaving means that they'll be eaten, but at least your death won't be on my conscience, as my family surely is. Don't trust Jari. He's in league with them trolls. He gets to keep the money of whoever we bring in. That silver that he give you, that wasn't from me. That was from someone else. Someone else he fed to them trolls. He keeps the loot. The trolls promise to keep me children alive as long as we bring them food. And your supper. And then he just sobs into his hands.
We also hear that?
Yes, so Drogo and Lothario will hear that as well. But Rathar
Yeah.
and Malvagil do not hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll go in and say, don't worry. How about if we try to rescue your family from the trolls?
And he looks up with the first glimpse of hope in his eyes. Give me an enhearten roll, Lothario.
Yeah.
And we add a bonus die on that. Okay,
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
add
too
one
late
to
for
it
that.
if we need it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, turns out we
No
don't
need.
need it. You succeeded.
Yeah.
You would do that for me? For my family? Oh, truly there is good in the world. Look, if Jari does not give them the signal, they'll eat me family. We need to make certain that the trolls think that we're bringing them food. If they don't get this signal, that they'll murder me children. So if you just capture Jari, then that would be just like killing me family. So we got to be smart about this. I'll do what I can. I'm not a fighter, but I will fight. I will give my life for this. But be careful of that snake, Jari. He has powerful friends. Those trolls are not to be trifled with. And not 10 seconds later, you hear the dwarf singing kind of a body traveling song as he and Malvagil and Rathar approach the clearing. And Diarmok wipes his eyes quickly on the back of his hands and turns around and begins to kind of busy himself with firewood. But Drogo, Lothario, and Blaine, you kind of heard what Diarmok said about what's really going on. And he seems to finally have a glimpse of hope with Lothario's offer to rescue his family.
When the others return, would I know if Malvagil speaks Sindarin? Because he's a ranger. There might be a chance.
Yeah, if you want to say something, let me just grab this.
Yeah, I would basically want to tell Malvagil about the situation in quiet, but also in Sindarin to make sure Jari is not
Doesn't
understanding.
understand. Perfect. Let me
Yeah.
get rid of this corny music and get something a little better on here. It's gonna play. There we go. Yeah. So give me a riddle roll, Lothario, as you speak in Sindarin to
A
Malvagil.
real roll. Okay. Not too high chances.
Not great. So there's maybe a chance he doesn't speak it. Malvagil, give me a riddle roll as well, and if you can beat we'll say an 8, which is just above half your target, because I love this idea. Oh, perfect. You don't speak it well, but you know enough words that Lothariel is, for some reason, speaking to you in Sindarin and is saying the word danger and trap. You know those 2 words.
I will, understanding this gesture towards Jari, who I suspect is trouble.
Do you answer in your broken Sindarin tongue?
Yeah, I will try to ask if Jari is the one responsible for this, as I would suspect.
Give me another riddle roll, and I will have Lothariel give me one as well. And as long as Lothariel can beat your score, so beat a 6, Lothariel will be able to understand your broken Sindarin. Oh, excellent, yes. So, Lothariel, you understand that Malvagil understood what you were saying and is on the same page with you. Jari looks at the 2 of you. Hey, now, what's this? Speak openly for all to hear. Talking behind me back? Why, you're seeking to keep the treasure for yourselves, ain't you? Hey?
No, of course not. We were just talking about some old stories which are better told in the original tongue.
Indeed, don't worry yourself, goodly dwarf.
Lothariel, give me a stealth roll as you very deftly cover your tracks there.
All right.
Nice. Great success. So, yeah, Jari seems to buy your story. He knows that often songs and tales are best told in the original tongue with which they were written. So he just kind of, yeah, we dwarves have a great song about bow-legged women, eh? And he kind of nudges Blaine.
Aye, that we do.
Aye. And then he goes off kind of humming the tune to that bawdy song to himself as he's packing gear into a backpack. As night passes, do you do anything before morning comes?
I want to check my gear and make sure it's ready for combat if needed.
Yeah, you look over everything. You're
Sharpening
maybe
tools,
a
stuff like that.
a little concerned that maybe while you've slept, maybe Jari has tampered with your stuff. And you look over your gear. Everything looks to be in working order. You sharpen your weapons. You make sure everything is ready to go. You anticipate that tomorrow may be a red day, and that your stout dwarvish sword will see some use. The next
I think during the night, I'd like to try and quietly wake Lothariel and perhaps Rathar, and maybe see if they share the same
Drogo.
suspicions.
Not the useless hobbit.
Oh, well, Drogo has his uses, of course, but maybe we could bind Jari and question him, because I have some suspicions that he is keeping something hidden from us.
You can hear Jari snoring. He's quite loud, quite, typical dwarvish fashion. It sounds like someone is, cutting wood. He's snoring so loudly. And Blaine, you recognize that it is indeed the deep slumber of a dwarf. Malvagil kind of spreads the news of this plan to the others. is everyone in agreement? Do you act upon it?
Yes.
I trust you.
I'm gonna say we need to be careful because we've been told that he needs to signal the trolls so they don't kill. I forgot the name again.
Diarmach's family.
It's the Amax family. Yeah, sorry.
Well, we need only bind him, and perhaps we can discover what this signal is, and then we can give it ourselves if need be.
Okay.
As
We
you
can
go
try that.
to waylay him, I'm going to say, Lothiriel, you can make a craft roll. This is to get him bound quickly.
Okay.
What is Rathar and Malvagil and Blaine? Are one of you going to like grab him or? Oh, excellent! Extraordinary success. You got 2 6s on there, so you can use those success die to give someone else bonuses on their rolls. So what is Rathar doing to help capture Jari?
Yeah, I suppose I would just be like the muscle roll. Just
Give me an athletics
my
roll,
force.
and you can add a bonus die because of Lothiriel's extraordinary success.
Oh.
Oh, and a Gandalf rune. Sweet. And you got a great success. So we got 2 more great successes we can use. So, Malvagil, what are you doing? So, Rathar is grabbing and holding. Lothiriel is hog-tying.
I think I just want to. I do want to question Jari.
What about Blaine?
Once we
So, if you're going to question
we do
Blaine,
have
are
him
you going to
bound.
help at all in the capture of Jari?
I'm cursing in the Dwarven tongue while beating him about the head.
Ooh, I like that. Give me a battle roll. And you can add a bonus die to that.
You said a battle roll?
Yep, battle. I believe it's under.
Oh, I see it.
Heart.
Them being out of alphabetical kind of throws me.
Right.
Hmm.
So you are.
I can at least cuss at him.
Yeah, you're definitely cussing at him, and you're kind of slapping him and smacking him, and he's squirming around, and you're not pulling your punches at all. But he kind of spits out a mouthful of blood at you. Oh, you betrayed one of your own kind. You're the foulest of the dwarves that ever were. And Malvagil, you maybe step on his stomach and give him a little push, and ooh, the air comes out of his lungs, and he looks at you as he's gasping for air. How do you question him?
I want to ask him. I'll tell him. We know that you plan to have us waylaid by trolls. We know that much from what was his name? Jermark?
Diarmach?
Jarmark? Yeah. We know that much from him. But how is it that you plan to signal to these trolls?
Give me either an insight or a riddle roll, and you can add 1 bonus die.
Can I spend a point of hope?
You can, and you have got, what's your distinctive features? Honorable. So if you can, or tall. You are very imposing. So if you want to, if you spend a point of hope, I would let that be inspired, so that will give you additional bonus dice. And then add a bonus die as well from the successes we've had before. Great success. So you're just looming over this little fellow, and he looks up at you and says, "'Tis but a bird call. A crow, aye. The call of a crow." And Diarmach shakes his head. It's not a crow. It's something different. And
I will look at him imposing and say, you have. It looks like you would lie to me. What should I do with you if you are going to not be truthful with me?
look, I have powerful friends. Something happens to me, you're all dead. I'm the only way you're getting out of this alive. Capturing me is tantamount to killing this man's family.
Well, the man's family is, of course, of great concern, but I think that you're not in a position here to threaten me, and perhaps you should cooperate if you will tell me how it is that you plan to summon these trolls. Then I will see that you're not harmed.
Lean in and I'll whisper it. Come on, get in
No,
close.
you can tell all of us.
No.
There's no need.
This is just for you. Come here. I'll whisper it. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. If you just loosen the bonds a little, I'll tell you.
Tell me first, dwarf.
I don't think I will. And he just kind of turns his head to the side as though he's done making eye contact with you.
Well, I will turn to the rest of the group. I can't seem to get any answers out of him, but we know at least that he signals the trolls with some sort of bird call.
Blaine, I'll tell him. Lean in close, Blaine. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Just, I got a rock in me back. Just move me a little, and I'll tell you.
You'll have 2 rocks in your back before I lean in and move you. You'll tell us now.
Give me a battle roll with a bonus die.
Badass.
Oh, nice. He says, it's not a crow. It's a curlew. Sounds something like this. And he clears his throat. And it grows quiet. All you hear is the crackle of the fire. It'd be easier with a drink of ale, but... And then he lets out this bird call. It's this high-pitched, kind of wailing cry. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I'll play it again.
I can hear it.
Perfect. Give them that call and they'll know everything's alright. But if I cry like a fox 3 times, they'll know there's trouble. So, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go and rescue that family, and then you're going to pay a ransom to me for letting you live. Deal?
You'll be lucky if we don't leave you tied to a tree.
Just get this rock out of me back. Put me a little closer to the fire. It's cold. The rest of the night passes rather uneventfully. Jari every now and then is spitting curses in the common tongue, in Dwarvish, and even some crude Elvish, wishing hateful things upon each and every one of you. When the dawn breaks, I'm going to pull everyone to this new map. Once we get Rathar there. Rathar is always the last. There's Rathar. You all are down here on the kind of the bottom left-hand corner of the map. As dawn breaks on the hidden valley, Malvagil, you know that there are haunted places in the Weather Hills, valleys where the shadows lie deep and the sun never reaches. You heard a tale that there's old buried treasure in one such valley. Some say it was the dwarves who buried it, some say it was the kings of old, and you don't know who has the right to it. But you know that you wouldn't go treasure hunting in these hills unless you had a purpose. It's too easy to fall and break your neck, or have something break it for you. This is possibly just rumor passed down from the rangers. You yourself have never been in this area, but you suspect that there is definitely danger ahead. You notice that there is a definite choke point along the river here and here where you could easily be cut off front and rear and fallen upon on either side from those rocky cliffs. Lothariel, give me a lore roll. Nice. You know that there are ruins up here. That this valley, the Valley of Morgland, is one of many in the wrinkled old skin of the Weather Hills, and to the north, south, and east of the valley rise tall gray hills, stony and barren. To the west are lower hills dotted with small thickets. A stream runs through the valley, quick and cold. It flows around an earthen mound called the Wart of Morgland, forming a little mountain lake before it finds the path down west. The Wart was raised by the men of Arnor long ago. Other than the landmark of the Wart, the rest of the valley is a landscape of moss-hung rocks, shadowy clefts, and piles of loose scree. Mortal men dwelt here in the olden days, middle men first and then men of the west. There was a time when great herds of sheep and cattle grazed here before being brought to the market at Bree, or other towns and castles that are now forgotten, and their ruins lie lost under the grass. War and plague emptied out the valley and the lands all around. You, being well versed in troll lore, would suspect that if the trolls are not secreted in a cave, they are likely in the ruins of that building atop the hill. As you make the southern approach on the lower left of the map, the path runs along the bank of a little stream. It was obviously cleared at some point in the last few years. Rocks have been rolled aside and brambles cut to make the going easier. You estimate that this has been done about 15 or 20 years ago because it has not been used regularly, at least within the last year, and judging by the moss and lichen on some of the rocks, you know it's been at least a decade. Lothiriel, give me a hunting roll with a bonus die, as you are looking for troll sign.
Alright. Nope.
There are many animal prints scattered here and there. Too many to be definite, but you think perhaps you did see one print that could possibly be a troll. It may have also just been where a large rock had been plucked up from the ground. But judging by the size and the weight, it could have been a troll. Very possible. Diarmok says, "My friends, my family, they're at the lake. There is a wooden raft in the center of the lake. It's anchored down to the bottom. My children are upon that raft. We're told to bring you to a point," and he kind of points at an area on the map, that little ambush choke point. "The trolls will find you there. They'll not be out until dusk. Jari was to delay your journey today until just before sunset. So we've time now, ere the sun sets and the trolls come forth." Let me pull out some tokens.
Well, perhaps we could get in position and then call the trolls to us, and in the daylight they'd be weaker and we'd have an easier time of defeating them.
These tokens are obviously not to scale. You are not the size of the lake or the mountain, but just so they're on the map in case we want to move around a little. So Malvagil, your plan is to try and lure the trolls out into the daylight?
Yeah, I'll share this plan with everyone and see what the others think of this.
Lothiriel, you know that the sun is the bane of all trolls, but the trolls are unlikely to fall for any sort of ruse to be lured out. It's not unheard of for a troll to hide itself under what's often called a troll mat, a huge blanket of reeds and furs and mud and sticks that it can carry about if it needs to try and escape from the sun, but any little beam of sun that strikes it could be fatal, and so it's only a last resort. It would have to be a very tempting bit of bait to get them to come out wearing their troll mats.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that plan is working out, because they will be very careful going into the sun, because every ray of the sun is actually turning them to stone, so they know it's really dangerous for
Yeah,
them.
it could definitely be fatal.
What
Yes,
can we use as
perhaps-
bait?
Well, who is the plumpest among you that might be the most appealing to a troll's sense of hunger?
Really?
Sorry, Drogo.
I was thinking Drogo and I could both work as bait.
Drogo is beginning to resemble a muffin with his little muffin top bulging out over his traveling pants.
It's the Hobbit physique.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, as a hobbit, you're a 10. But as you know, a healthy, athletic individual, you're like a 3.
Maybe
Well,
some
if
of
we
us
can't,
can. Oh, go on. Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead,
just-
Lothariel.
Okay, yeah. Maybe some of us can go ahead sneakily and try to scout the situation.
Yeah, it looks like as long as you don't stick to this river, I mean, there's a way you could get around the wart and kind of approach the lake if you want to go check on the family, either from the north or the south.
Yeah.
You could go right into those ruins and maybe catch the trolls while they're sleeping or resting, or you could set a bait with a nice little hobbit, rubbing butter on his skin so he smells delicious and.
Okay, what?
Or you could, even if you can't lure them out, at least get their interest so that when night falls, they would come out after the portly little Drogo. Am I hobbit
Well, if
shaming?
we wanted to use someone as bait and we can't draw them out in the daytime, we could prepare like some fire and throw firebrands at them when they come for the bait.
You'd make like a Trojan hobbit, like a big wooden fat hobbit, and they pull you into their cave, and then you all come out and attack them.
The Hobbit disrespect is crazy right now.
Sorry, Drogo. Sorry. So there's a plan. So maybe lure them out and burn them with fire. If you could find their cave, you could probably smoke them out. If there's no other way for air to get in and out, you could set a big bonfire at the cave entrance, or
Could we
wherever they might
set
be
up a
living.
camp with a fire, something that would catch their eye?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, work our way towards the lake, towards the family. A distraction.
Yeah. This is a game where you could definitely split the party in this case.
Yeah.
Maybe you even send like the least combat savvy among you, Drogo, to go and
Really?
scout
Right.
the lake.
Exactly.
That way Drogo is not getting squashed by a troll and can maybe be the hero of the day and rescue the family while the trolls are otherwise engaged.
Well,
What?
Drogo is very stealthy.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So is
What
that
do you
our
think,
plan?
Drogo?
I mean, yeah, I'm up for saving this family.
And being away from the trolls.
Yeah.
So where, Drogo, why don't you move your token where you propose to go, like your path.
So just up to the lake, I think.
Okay, so kind of sneak along the northern edge of that building there, that little mound.
Yeah.
Okay. What is Malvagil and Rathar? What are you two doing?
I told you want to try to set up some kind of ambush / distraction.
So how do you propose doing that?
Yeah, that's the that's the real part of it. I liked Blaine's idea of the fire. That's certainly going to get their attention. Maybe
Yeah.
I think we're cooking food at the fire too.
So maybe like if you could bring down some game, you could like roast something there and maybe waft the scent towards the trolls.
Yeah, that might be a pretty good idea.
What about Malvagil? You want to go along with that? Like help build the fire and try and lure the trolls to you?
Yeah, I could build the camp while Rathar is out hunting.
What about Blaine and Lothariel?
Um, yeah, so
I-
if we set up, yeah, go first, yeah.
I'd like to explore the area where we're going to set up the camp in the ambush. See if anything stands out or appears useful.
Do we want to set it on the south side of the river or the north side of the river, or do you want to set it kind of closer to where the trolls are, or do you want to lure them away from the lake?
Do we know where the trolls are exactly?
You
If,
don't. So,
Oh.
Right.
Lothariel knows that they could be in these ruins. They could be in some caves anywhere along the lake.
they're
But
like hills.
you do get the impression that they plan to, because there's a perfect ambush point right here, so that's likely where they were planning on ambushing you.
Yeah. If we might just lead them to Drogo. That was my concern. If they're in the wrong direction.
Yeah, probably don't want to have them anywhere near the Hobbit.
Right.
So yeah, I mean they already have a plan to ambush us. So I say we set it up somewhere in that like nearby. So it's like they're like, oh, convenient, we're already there.
And so you know that if Jari were not tied up to a tree, off in the woods, that this is likely where he would have led you. So this is likely where the trolls would be planning to ambush you. You're just ahead of schedule. Jari would have likely tried to delay your journey several hours. He would have got up late and served a heavy breakfast, so you got to rest during the day because the Hobbit's full of food, and he would have drug his feet so that you had arrived here just before sunset, almost
Right.
in an
We have
evil
time
sort
to
of way.
scout.
Yeah, you
plan
have time to
to-
scout, plan, set something up, and have the upper hand on this.
I'd say we
Malvagil-
set our trap near where they were going to set theirs.
Yeah, it'd be a great place. Great place to set that up. That's where they would be expecting you, and so were you somewhere else, they would have thought something was wrong.
Also, while I'm preparing the camp, I could set up some rope, some snares, and we could put some of those silver coins in them, so they're drawn to the treasure, and then they'll get caught in a snare, and that might make them easier to fight.
If only you had some of Drogo's muffins to place in the snares, that would probably work even better. But I think silver coins would work. Do you know that Jari was supposed to give a signal? Do you want to try and give that signal?
Perhaps the ranger could when the time is right.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we have some time, is it maybe worth scouting if they are actually in this ruin?
I think absolutely. So you've got time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
why don't we have Drogo? I'm going to have you make kind of a stealthy roll as you're going up towards the lake, and then let's have Rathar was hunting, so maybe give me a hunting roll. Lothariel, give me an explore roll. Oh, well done, Drogo.
Explore, would it be?
Yeah, you could do explore, or you could do scan.
Similarly bad, actually. Okay.
My explorer's a favored.
Yeah, maybe that's something for you then. I thought I can go there and need to do it stealthy so they don't see me. So that's
In fact, let me have you do a lore roll, because you would be looking more. You're still looking for like troll sign. I think that would be good. And
True.
Blaine, maybe give me an explore roll. Oh man.
Oh, that's good.
Much better, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then Blaine, give me an explore roll.
I get an additional because that is a favored.
So it should automatically calculate that in.
Okay.
If you want to spend hope, you can, and that will give you a bonus on there.
Yes,
you
I just
also
clicked
have
the hope.
Yeah, so you have the distinctive feature of cunning, and so when you click on hope, it will then have a little box to the right that says inspired. Click on the inspired, since you are cunning and you're doing cunning things. That will give you an extra die, so extra 2d instead of just the 1d for spending
Okay.
hope. That is a lot of dice, and that is a great success. So Malvagil, you did not find any game. In fact, you don't even find signs of game. It seems like the trolls have eaten everything that lives in this little valley. You find empty rabbit warrens and even birds. There's very few birds in here. There's no nests. You see plenty of nests that have been kind of thrown down to the ground. It looks like anything in here to eat has been claimed already by these trolls. Drogo, as you are skulking your way along, you go across the northern reach of those ruins, and you look up, and these ruins are ancient. These predate anything you've ever seen. You come up upon the lake, and sure enough, you see that out on the lake is indeed a raft. There's mountain streams that feed the boggy upland. The outer portion is a sucking marsh, similar to the Midgewater Marsh that you'd be familiar with. You can still slog through the mud without too much difficulty, but the water looks like it leads into a very bitterly cold lake. There's reeds and plants around that make it kind of difficult to tell what's muddy bog and what's water, but you do spot out in the middle of the lake, maybe 300 meters away, you see this little raft. You see an adult female. You see two young boys on the raft, and they look emaciated. They look cold. They look as though they have just been forced to or been subjected to just absolute terrible things. They've probably seen horrible things while they've been out here. Let's see. Let's go to Blaine and Lothariel. So Lothariel, you note that the old ruins. You know that in days of old, the followers of the king of Arthedain wrought fortifications of earth and stone in this valley. They dug trenches and tunnels and piled up the earth from them to make this mound. A tower once stood atop it, built in the last years of the kingdom, and it was crudely made in comparison to other castles raised by the men of the West. The tower is long gone, but its wells and its cellars remain. The stench of troll is overpowering as you get close to these ruins. There are side tunnels that look out from the flanks of the mound all over the valley. You see several of them covered by troll mats. You know what these are. Mats and curtains of woven reeds, cloth, fur, mud, and sticks. Some of the entrances are covered with scraggly grass. This is definitely where the trolls are staying, is in the ruins beneath this tower. You spot a relief on one of the large chunks of stone that's been thrown down from a tower. It looks to be a carving, somewhat faded and weathered, but of a king of men putting his hand upon the head of, looks like Drogo, a small hobbit. But it's now a little more than a vague shape in the stone. Blaine, you see much the same. You see the entrances to the troll's lair, and now you start to see footprints. And it looks like the trolls exit from this northern, kind of northwestern side, and then would make their way down to the choke point, kind of on the path that you are on, not the way that Lothariel came through here. And you see that there are depressions, small trenches that have been dug and cleared here, and they likely skulk through those large trenches to get to that ambush point. Malvagil, you build up the camp. You make it look like it's been inhabited by quite a few people. You set up a large fire to blaze at night. There's still a few hours until that time, but you're making the camp look like a bunch of unprepared people wandering through the woods in search of treasure. The sort of camp that they might have, not some hardened, battle-ready adventurers. As night begins to draw closer, there's still about an hour and a half, 2 hours before the sun sets. Rathar has returned empty-handed. Malvagil's got the camp ready. Lothariel and Blaine know where the trolls are coming from and where they are likely to go. Drogo, you see the family out on the raft. Let's go back to Drogo. What do you do with this knowledge?
Okay, so, if I look around, is there, like, any like log or something that I could use to maybe like swim over to them?
Give me a roll. Give me an awareness roll.
Can I use hope on that?
You sure can. And I don't think you have a distinctive feature. Burglary, because you're trying to sneak like around in this area. Your best hobbity senses have kicked in. This is kind of it's an underhanded sort of plan, kind of laying a trap for the trolls and sneaking in and stealing the family. You're stealing that family. That's burglary. So you can, if you spend hope, that will make it inspired and give you an extra die on that.
Okay.
Oh, you got an Eye of Sauron. There are no logs. It looks like most of the trees in this area have been claimed long ago for timbers, and it's just barren rocks and scrubby grass. You do, however, spot something. It's down about here on the map. You'd have to get kind of close to the ruins, but it looks like there's a path that leads down there, and you suspect that that path might have been used by people who have lived here, and maybe there is something there that might assist you. At least it's not a boggy marsh down there. It would be easier if you have to get out to the lake. It's a little bit further to traverse the lake, but you're not having to walk through sucking mud and biting insects to get there.
Okay, I'll follow the path then.
As you head down there, you spot a very small, a little boat of hide. It's stretched over a frame of woven branches. This looks like something that a child might have used. It looks like it's watertight. It's got some water and mud in it, but you don't see any rips or tears in the hide. It looks serviceable. You could probably use it to paddle out there. You don't know how many people this might be able to carry. You think that it's going to push the limits of buoyancy just by putting your bulk into that raft.
Is there something I could do to like strengthen it or something, like putting wood in it or something?
Give me a craft roll. It's under your strength skills. You want to spend hope on that? Oh.
Yikes.
Yeah, without having the proper tools, you have no idea of how to make a boat. You know how to make breakfast, but not a boat. This is not something you would likely be able to repair. You're just going to have to maybe trust that it's going to support you as you paddle out on the lake.
Okay then, I'll get in the boat and start paddling out.
Let's jump back to Lothariel. So this is definitely where the trolls are coming from. You're not sure where they're going to come out of. You see a lot of entrances, little caves and tunnels. Do you want to try peeking in one? You still got a little bit of sunlight left, or do you want to just leave this and not poke around and not disturb the hornet's nest?
I think I will try to have a peek. Yeah, I will look into one.
Yeah. Give me another stealth roll as you go and kind of nose around in there. If you want to spend hope, you can.
Pretty stealthy.
Yeah,
so
really stealthy. So you got two
Yeah.
sixes, an extraordinary success. You find in one of them, it's one of the cellars of the watchtower. This is a foul troll hole now. You see that inside here, as you skulk in, the ceiling of the hall is low, and it's bulging alarmingly in several places. Were you Blaine and a dwarf and you saw this, you would know that this is unsafe, and that this would need to be shored up with timbers, lest it collapse in on your head. Trolls don't seem to care, or maybe they're too stupid to know. The floor is a mess of broken bones and other filth, and you see in here 2 trolls sleeping away, resting on a pile of old clothes, blankets, and rotting pillows and bits of cloth.
Okay, I'm going back to the rest of the crew.
Okay, and because you got that extraordinary success, you leave no trace of your passage. Not even the scent of an elf in here that might have alerted them to your presence. Blaine, you know the path that the trolls will take. What do you do with that information? And what do you do as the night begins to approach rapidly?
I return back to the group and share with everyone what I found. I don't want to disturb the path or leave anything that would heighten their senses, make them aware I was there.
Give me a stealth roll as well. You do your best to cover your tracks. You feel confident that you did a good job. Time will tell. Rathar, the hunt was unsuccessful. You were helping Malvagil set up camp. What are the two of you doing as the sun begins to climb down towards the top of the valley and will soon be plunged into darkness? Either Malvagil or Rathar, what are you doing?
I'd like to try and set up some snares.
Oh,
to
yes, I
prep
forgot you were
fish
doing
trolls.
that. Give me a hunting roll with a bonus die for that. And if let's see, do you have a small box of salt that helps you with hunting? I'm going to say you can put a little salt down. A lot of times animals are attracted to salt. Maybe you salt the coins or the area, and the trolls might kind of smell something savory. So that will give you a bonus die on that using your little box of spices and salt. That's a lot of dice. Extraordinary success. So you've got 2 bonus die that we'll be able to use should the trolls stumble into your trap. What about Rathar? What is Rathar up to?
Well, having not been able to find any game, I guess, I would be just doing much the same, maybe making sure the fire stays roaring.
Yeah. Does anyone, probably Rathar or Malvagil would be the most prepared to do this, give the bird call?
What role is that?
It's probably going to be a riddle roll.
Oh yeah, I've got 1 diamond in it.
Which I think...
I've got none in
yeah,
riddle.
So I think you've got the best chance, Rathar, and you've got folklore as one of your distinctive features, which I'm going to say that helps you approximate the sound of that bird. So if you'll get a bonus of 1d, and if you want to spend hope, that would you could be inspired on that roll, which would give you an additional 2 dice on that.
I think I did that. Ah.
Well, the Eye of Sauron didn't help, but you still got it. So you give out that bird call, and it sounded. In fact, I'm not going to make you do the call unless you want to. You're welcome to try and show us what that call sounds like.
I remember it.
So from your memory, you give the cry of a curlew, and Malvagil nods his head. Yes, that's it. Diarmok, who's not much use here, he's just kind of a nervous wreck. He's waiting at the camp and reassures you that when the time comes, he will do whatever you ask. In fact, he is more than willing to be the bait since since Rathar was not able to find any game. That he will go down where the snares are and wait for the trolls, and maybe munch on an apple or something, and just look kind of clueless. But he's willing to do that. if it means that you might rescue his family. Night begins to fall. Drogo, you are paddling across the lake. As you get closer, you make eye contact with the people on the raft. And they look at you almost incredulously, like they've dreamed of someone coming to their rescue and they almost can't believe it. And as you're paddling, you see the woman stand up and she waves her arms over her head like, no, no, no. And she points down into the water.
Am I like close enough to talk to them without like yelling or anything?
You'd probably have to do hand gestures at this point. She's not saying anything. She's just gesturing with her arms and pointing down. She's not saying, look down, look up, danger. Just trying to give hand signals.
Okay. I'll kind of like raise my hands, like asking her like what she means.
Like shrug your shoulders.
Yeah.
She kind of stands hunched over, like you've never seen a troll, but what you might imagine a troll would look like. And she kind of pulls at her long hair, and then she points down at the water with her eyes big, and she holds her arms out like really big, really big. Okay. So you think that maybe she's trying to tell you there's a really big troll down there, and tugging at her hair, maybe it's a female or the mom.
Okay. I'm still gonna try to save them because I'm already out on the lake. So.
Yeah, you're so tired. Like I'm not gonna go all the way back empty-handed. Right. So. Let's get some music going here. Alright. Give me a stealth roll, Drogo, as you begin kind of quietly, try not to disturb the water, just kind of slowly drifting towards them.
I'll use hope on this.
Okay. Great success. You manage to reach the raft, and the woman helps you on, and she says, Nelly, the big one, she sleeps under the water. She's like a crocodile. She holds her breath.
Okay.
And you look over and you begin to see bubbles coming up from the bottom of the lake.
Okay. Yeah, we need to hurry, so just load everyone up on this boat.
She looks at the raft and says, we won't all fit on there. And she takes her two boys and kind of pushes them towards you.
Can we, like, take the raft and row it to shore?
She shakes her head and says, no, it's anchored to the bottom. Nellie has tethered it to a rock or a tree down below. It's too far for us to swim. It's too cold for us to swim. She torments us. My daughter tried to make the swim 3 days ago. Nellie ate her in front of us.
I'm so sorry.
I think the raft is our best bet. I think it can only carry my two boys. Take them first, and then come back for me.
I will come back for you.
Do you want to start kind of paddling while those bubbles are starting to come up from the water beneath, or do you want to wait?
Well, I'm not gonna wait.
Okay. The two boys get in the raft, and it sinks pretty low in the water. You think if you lean too far to one side, it may just start sucking water in, and the whole thing could submerge or flip over on you. So you're going to have to be very, very careful to do this. This is going to take an athletics roll.
Oh no.
Because you got a great success on your stealth, I will give you a bonus die to that. If you spend hope, you have honorable as a distinctive feature. That would make it inspired.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
It's a one-shot. Spend all the hope.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just barely.
Just barely.
Still a success.
Yeah.
What side of the lake are you going? Are you taking these boys to? The same side you came from, or the north side, the northwest side, southeast side? Like, are you going down here? Are you going up here towards the top? Are you going kind of where you came from?
Where did we establish the trolls were coming from?
You don't know. You
Oh,
weren't
but
there.
I wasn't there.
You weren't
yeah.
there.
We do have an idea where the mother's sleeping because of the bubbles, right?
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
the mother's probably sleeping just below you, and judging by the
Oh.
sun nearly down, she's probably waking up very soon. And it would be a pity if you drop these boys off at the same spot where the mother's gonna head out to the ambush. You do know where the ambush site is, where they're planning on getting you. You know that it's probably follows the course of this little river, so maybe you don't want to
Yeah.
go back to where you came from.
So,
And
maybe
up here to
like-
the north, you know it's
Yeah.
marsh and mud, which may delay you getting back to the wife.
So, I don't know. Do you think like over here somewhere?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move your
Go
token
for it.
over there. I don't know how you got that athletics roll. that was impressive. Once you reach the side, you see ripples coming across the lake, and you see the nastiest looking troll you have ever. Well, you've never seen a troll, but the nastiest looking thing you have ever seen begin to rise out of the lake. Let me send a picture here. You see this
Ooh.
huge, menacing, frightening looking beast just dripping water lumber out on the shore over to the path, the same spot where you launched your craft, and heading along the path towards the ruins. When she leaves the lake, you think this is maybe a good chance, and you could
Yeah.
quickly paddle back across. Are you trying to be stealthy at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a stealth roll. Okay, and that great success, that's probably going to come back to help you.
Awesome.
Let's go back to everyone else while you are frantically paddling across. Lothariel, you have the best eyes, and you see, after the bird call is made, you see some of the mats begin to kind of shift, and you see a troll poke his head out and sniff the air. And then you begin to see dark shadows in the darkness begin to lumber from the northern end of that mound down towards where you are lying in wait for them. Do you do anything before they arrive? Now, you don't know about the troll in the lake, so you can't act on that knowledge. What would Lothariel do as these trolls approach? Do you hold off until they are in the snares? Do you do anything to try and lure them closer? Do you attack while they are unprepared?
No, so we are already hidden, right? So
Yes.
I think,
And
she
I
would
won't make
just
everyone
stay
make a
hidden.
roll. You've had ample time to get hidden here.
Yeah.
Find
Yeah.
a spot. So you're just going to kind of
Yeah.
hold until the trolls get there?
Yeah.
What about Blaine? What are you doing?
Lying in wait with my shield, sword, and helm equipped and ready.
Excellent. The feeling you get before the onset of battle begins to settle in. You know that the waiting is the worst part. You wait all day for what may turn out to be just a few scant moments of intense action. And you begin to get that itch, that urge in your hands, gripping the sword as you visualize yourself hewing into these trolls and saving this man's family, this man who you just barely met, but you know that this is what a hero would do. Rathar, I assume you're lying in wait. Do you do anything else before the trolls arrive?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm pretty much just getting dug in, like the rest of them, getting ready. Probably staying pretty close to the elf. I think a spear is a pretty good companion to
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
How about Malvagil?
Since the fire's been burning for a while now, could I collect some hot coals and maybe some extra pieces of wood that I could light on fire when the trolls do arrive?
Yeah, you can have all of that prepared. In fact, I'm going to let whoever wants to make a battle roll. Whoever maybe has the best battle score, and this will be to give bonuses. Malvagil, you're not favored, but you've got 2 skills in it. Rathar, you've got not favored but have 1 skill. Blaine has 1 skill, so it might be Malvagil that does. Yeah, so Malvagil, you got the best shot. If you want to do a battle roll, and you can add 1 bonus die for everyone kind of helping you. You can spend hope if you want, and you've got honorable as a distinctive feature that would make you inspired as you're preparing to risk your life to save this man's family. So this is to set up, kind of these burning, or the hot coals that if you need to, get something lit on fire quickly, you'd be able to do. Just kind of prepare the battleground for the trolls' arrival. Oh yeah, so no special successes there. But you've got everything where you need it, so there'll be no bonuses from this that will pass on, but you still get 2 from an earlier roll during this attempt to lure the trolls in. I'm going to switch the scene. I've got it's just a generic outdoor map. This is kind of the little gully where the trolls are going to come at you. So let me just kind of bring everyone down here, except for Drogo.
The wisest of the party.
Oh, not Amelina. Amelina's not here. Yeah, your twin sister just showed up and then left. So let's say, do you guys go on either side of this valley? I'll let you position yourselves. The trolls are going to come right down the middle.
Oh yeah, they're coming down the middle. I would assume we're on either side to flank them.
Okay, who's
Yeah.
with who? Perfect, just like that. Rathar and Blaine, Malvagil and Lothariel.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Shield wall.
You see the trolls. 2 of them. One lumbers in, the other one you see down in the passageway, and it begins to climb up. It's going to try to sneak around. The plan was always to try and trap you in this gully. So one of them is coming straight down the middle. The other looks to have stepped away, maybe climbing up to get around behind you. As troll number 1 steps in towards the snares, because you got the successes that you did, the troll sees the coins, smells the salt. Because they are dull-witted, it falls upon it with earnest. And one of its hands gets caught in a snare, and as it gets pulled tight, its right hand is pulled straight to the side. And as it struggles to pull against that, its left foot gets caught in another snare, pulling it. So it's almost doing like a yoga pose, kind of hopping on one leg, one arm pulled to the right, one leg pulled to the left, as that troll begins to say, "Hey! What is this?" And begins to pull and thrash frantically. Do you act now, or do you wait to see what the other troll does?
I want to wait. I'm hoping the other troll will fall into the trap, or hearing its brother cry out will rush in distracted and make itself an easier target.
What about Rathar, Malvagil, and Lothariel? Do you guys agree, or do you want to get the jump while this guy is in the snare?
It's a hard choice, because his brother might just immediately release him. And then we're just fighting on even ground. We have the initiative now, but that's only like 1 round. But equally, could go really well if we wait. So, I'm torn.
Yeah, I don't want to let him get that close.
Is it possible to ready the bow and then just...
Yeah, in fact, the way combat works, we're going to get into combat in like 30 seconds.
Mhm.
The way it works is the very first action is called an opening volley, and anyone with ranged weapons can make that
Mm.
volley. And then we go into like the hand-to-hand combat, and you will assume stances. And so there is a forward stance where you are kind of pressing the offense. So you'll get a bonus six-sided die on your attack roll, but then you also grant a bonus die to your enemy because you're being a little reckless. You can choose an open stance where there's no bonus or penalty. You can choose a defensive stance where you get one less six-sided die and your enemy also gets one less when he attacks you. And if both of these trolls are engaged in hand to hand, then someone, probably Lothariel, could stand back in a ranged stance and just fire arrows. So let's say that hearing the shouts, this troll begins to come down, but it is not, I'll say it's halfway down, it is not in the snares. I'm going to pull us into a combat. Let me just grab everyone's tokens. Okay, so there is no initiative roll. The PCs go first, the bad guys go second. So the first action will be the opening volley. So, Malvagil, do you have a ranged weapon? I think do you have a spear? So
Well, I do have one spear, but could I throw one of my firebrands at it?
yes, you can. Um, you're going to use your spear action, so you'll need to target the troll to do this. So, targeting on Foundry, you're going to click on the troll and then push T, and it will target the troll, and then it will let you make an attack. If you haven't targeted, it's actually going to give you an error. So make a throw or a roll like it's your spear, and give yourself a penalty die. I believe it will prompt you for that since this isn't a spear, and it will do a little less damage than your spear, but the fire may prove to be useful there. So Malvagil, you can go ahead and go first. You've got him targeted, looks like. Make a spear roll, and you can spend hope on these rolls, if any combat roll, if you like. So your spear roll was a failure. The flaming brand flips end over end, and the troll is kind of hopping around and jumping, and it hits it on the hide and kind of bounces off, and he lets out a little yelp, ah, as he sees the fire. He did not like that at all. Next up is going to be Rathar. Do you have a ranged weapon?
Well, I have a spear.
So you can use your spear for hand-to-hand combat. If you throw it, then you'll have to go get it, especially if it's stuck in a troll. May be difficult, or you can just wait until it's hand-to-hand, or you can throw your dagger if you want.
Yeah, I have no skills in any weapons but bows and spears, so I don't really want to throw my spear.
Yeah, probably don't want to throw that. If you use your dagger, it's going to use your brawling score.
I guess I would probably check that.
Gandalf runes a success. So your dagger does, if you look at your character sheet under your weapons, your dagger does 2 points of damage, and then there's a thing called injury. If you get what's called a piercing blow, then you have a potential to wound them. And the fastest way to eliminate an enemy is through piercing blows and wounding. To get a piercing blow, you need to either roll a 10 on the feat die or a Gandalf rune. And you got a Gandalf rune. So we are going to see if this pierces him. Let me just grab this real quick. See if this has the... Yep, can pierce as if it was a sword. Perfect. So I'm going to force the troll to make a protection roll. This is where armor comes into play, is to protect it from piercing damage. So let me roll the troll, his armor. And the if you look at your dagger, its injury is a 14. So the troll needs to beat a 14 on his protection roll. And for enemies, the Eye of Sauron is an automatic success. So he succeeded. So it does not cause him a wound, but he is going to take 2 hit points worth of damage. Blaine, you are up next.
I do not have any ranged weapons.
Perfect. The trolls also do not have ranged weapons. So then we are going to jump to the hand-to-hand portion of the battle. So now we need to.
Did Lothriel fire?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. How did I skip that? Sorry, Lothariel. Go ahead and make your attack. Thank you.
Yeah. How does it work with the targeting?
So you'll need to click on the troll and just push
Yeah.
T, and it should put like four little triangles. Do you see like four little triangles kind of pointing at the troll? I think you are targeted.
For some reason, it opens a new tab if I press T in Foundry. I don't know why.
I think I've got you targeted on there. If you go to roll your
Okay.
bow, just
Okay.
roll where it says bow keen, and it should do it.
Oh no, it says you need to select one and only one token to attack.
Okay, let me
It says no.
select him for you. Let me see if I can roll this for you, and then we'll. I think it's because I jumped ahead, and I do apologize for that. Let's see if I can get this to work. Yep, there we go. Okay, so you got a success. So you've got, and you got a 6 as well. So you get it's going to be a piercing blow. So he needs to make a protection roll. You also get to spend that 6 to do one of two things. You can add 2 to your feet die, but you already got a piercing roll, so you don't need to do that. The other thing you can do is what's called a heavy blow. It'll add 4 to your damage. So he's going to take damage and going to have to make a protection roll. So he will take 7 damage, and then let me give him a protection roll as well. Give him damage. That was an excellent shot. And make an armor roll for him. Okay, he got a 9. That is a failure. So he's going to take what's called a wound. If this happens to you, 1 wound and you take on the wounded state, a 2nd wound and you are dying. With this troll, he has what's called Might 2. So he is now going to be Might 1. And if he takes 1 more, he is dead. So he is... this arrow, tell me where you strike him with this arrow to wound him so grievously.
I think it's like going into the neck or something.
Oh, I like it. So he's kind of stretched out on these ropes, and you just get him right in the neck. And he gurgles and spits out a big mouthful of blood as it's just pumping out of this wound in his neck. And he is thrashing with great rage against this. As we close in for combat, Malvigil, you are first. You get to choose your stance. Do you want to take a forward stance, an open stance, or a defensive stance?
I'll do an open stance.
Okay, so I'm going to switch your stance here to open. Perfect. So then you can target the troll and make your attack.
Will this have a bonus die because he's caught in the snare?
Yes, let's do that. Nice. So that's going to be a piercing blow as well. So the troll needs to make a protection roll, and he has to beat a 16. Okay. Troll is wounded. So tell me how you kill this troll.
I think I leap out of the brush and I just drive my spear home into the wound that Lothariel opened up and end that troll.
And he is left hanging by those ropes, the blood still trickling from that neck wound as your spear finds his heart. Rathar, you are up next. There's another troll kind of scrambling down the side. Do you want to do a forward stance and be aggressive, do an open stance, or a defensive stance?
Yeah, I think Rathar's a forward stance kind of guy.
I would agree. So let me put you into forward stance. And you rush up. Go ahead and target the troll and make your attack. Nice. So 3 damage to that troll. So these guys have 60 hit points, so you can see how quickly the piercing blows took out an enemy that had 60 hit points. In fact, these trolls have a feature. If you get him to 0 hit points, he has hideous toughness, where if he would drop to 0, it causes a piercing blow instead, and if he survives, then he heals 30 hit points. And so the easiest way to take him out is going to be piercing blow. So you guys discovered in one round you took out a troll that, like, one troll could easily squash everybody here. So
I've got a question.
Yeah.
My spear has like a keen attribute to it.
Yeah. So keen is a reward. So under your rewards, it will say keen. It just means it's sharp or better balanced. It's more likely to produce a piercing blow. So you will make a piercing blow on a 9 or a 10 on the feat die. And so it's kind of how you get better loot. You get things that are, keen, or you might get some that are do more damage. And you did get a.
That's what I was wondering. My spear is keen.
You did get a 9. Yeah, as I'm looking at your dice, yeah, you got a 9. So yeah, that should be. Why didn't that not trigger? Let me give him a protection roll. That should have triggered that.
Ooh, nice.
And he got a 10, but your spear, I think he needs like a 16.
Oh.
So he did not make that protection roll. So he takes a wound. Tell me how you wound him with your spear. You guys are going to mow down these trolls, aren't you? Oh my goodness.
It's a short spear, but they're jabby weapons. I mean, he might have some armor, and his skin might be naturally tough.
Yeah, he's got hardened armor. So he needed to beat a 14, and he didn't. He got a 10. So... do you stick him like in the gut, or where do you think you?
Yeah, I think I just jab him just in the torso generally. I think it just finds like a chink in his armor. It just gets him pretty good.
Nice, like right, just kind of under his lower rib, and just get him, right in the spleen, and he's just lets out a cry. And he's still trying to climb down this rock face, and you use kind of his momentum downwards and your thrust upwards to just really give this guy
great for a spear.
Yeah, just absolutely gutting. Blaine, since this troll is engaged, you can choose your stance. You can do forward, you can do defensive, you can do open. You've got your
Forward.
sword in hand. I would say forward as well. So let me give you forward stance, and you can go ahead and target him and make that roll with your sword. If you want to spend hope, you can spend hope too.
And because I'm inspired, I can use that as well.
Yes. So because inspired comes from your distinctive features, which you have cunning and stern. And I think cunning, you guys have laid a trap, and you have already taken out one of the trolls, and now you're going to try and quickly take this guy out as well. So if you spend a point of hope, it will be inspired. Fantastic roll. So a great success. So that is a hit. So he's going to take damage, and you can spend that great success to do additional damage. He'll take an additional 5, since that is your strength.
These are stone trolls.
Right. So he'll take 5 plus an addition 4 plus an additional 5, so a total of 9 points of damage. Let me get that for him. And then I'm not going to skip you this time. Lothariel, do you want to stick with your bow, or do you want to go up and hit him with the sharp end of something?
I think she's going to stay in the in the back position with the bow.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So let me
Yeah.
let me make sure we've got this guy targeted for you. So if
I think it's targeted now, right? Is it?
Let's see. Yes, yep, he's got the green dot on him, so he is targeted.
It's
Is it letting you roll your bow?
I think so. Yeah.
And if you want to spend hope, you can spend hope.
Oh,
So an Eye of Sauron
it's an
is
eye of
never
Sauron.
good. It counts as a 1 in this case. Or
Yeah.
excuse me, a 0. If you are miserable, if you've spent all your hope, then it counts as an automatic fail. So your shot goes wide, and it's now the troll's turn. The
Yeah.
troll has a distinctive feature as well. It's hate of the dwarves. So when targeting the object of their hate, all their attacks are favored. And the troll also has some special abilities, like how you can use hope, he can use hate, and one of his abilities is let's see, do I want to use horrible strength? No, he does not. Okay, so he is going to go after.
Quick question.
Yes.
Just a quick question. So the target number for the combat is the strength target number?
Yes. Yep. So you are
Yeah.
trying to. So your target number is 14. That's your strength score.
Yeah.
And so yep,
Okay.
that's what you're trying to beat.
Yeah.
So the troll is going to go after Blaine. He does not like dwarves at all, and this roll is going to be favored, and he's coming at you with a club. Let me mark that this is favored. There we go. So a good thing is a Gandalf rune for him is like rolling an Eye of Sauron. So that's a very bad roll for him. So he smashes down with his club, and you just take a slight reposition to the right, and the club just narrowly misses you, cracks on the stone, but you all still have your feet. Let me get rid of this guy. That guy's dead. We go back to Rathar. Do you want to stay in the stance that you are in?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Okay, let's give him a protection roll. You guys are seriously going to take out both these trolls in like 2 rounds.
I already found the weak spot.
Oh, he is protected.
Ooh, that was
So
good
he
rolling.
made
Wow.
the roll. He'll still take damage. So he's going to take 3 damage on, or 3 damage from that. Blaine, you are up next.
Haste my steel.
Nice.
Nice, and you got a great success, so you can add additional damage to that. Nice, so 9 damage.
Can't you spend 6s to get your feat die up to a 10 and do a piercing roll?
Yes, but with a sword, it will only add a +1. And so his feat die was a 6, and so it would make it a 7. And so,
No real benefit.
yeah, if you're using like a spear, it would give you a +3. If you're using
Oh.
a bow, I think it's a +2. But with the sword, it's just a +1. So it would make it a 7. So it couldn't make it a piercing roll. Had that 6 been a 9, then yes, you could have made it piercing. But yes, that is also how you can spend the successes. Malvagil, do you want to remain in the open stance, or do you want to take a forward stance?
I'll take a forward stance.
Okay, let me switch your stance here, and it will automatically do that for you. Okay, you are in forward stance.
Oh. Oh.
Nice.
A great success. So even though you only got a 0 from the 1, you had enough with your success die to make that plus. You got a bonus on there, so you can't make that a penetrating or a piercing blow because you basically rolled like a 1. But you can add additional damage to that. It'd be your strength level. So does it give you the option to add the damage on your screen?
No.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and do that manually. So your strength score is a 7, So you can spend that 6 to add 7 on there, and you normally deal 5 damage with your spear. So 12 damage. Where do you get him with this spear? This is a pretty good wound. It's not enough to kill him, but it's a pretty pronounced wound.
I think I probably skewer him in one of the ribs.
Yeah. Let's go to Lothariel. If you like, you can use your bow again, or you can spring in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna use the bow again, and this time I think I'm gonna spend a hope point.
Perfect.
How do I do that? Like this? Yeah, okay.
Nice. So he'll take
Yeah.
3 damage from the bow. He is... Man, one more round, I think you guys are going to get him. He's going to go after Blaine. Oops. There we go. Going to go after...
Come and get me, ugly bastard.
Yeah, he definitely wants a piece of Blaine. He cannot stand the dwarves. He's going to let you have it with his club. This time he spits on his hands, takes aim, brings the club smashing down upon you. And, ooh, he connects. He is going to make it a heavy blow. You are going to...
Now, do I get to roll a defensive roll of any kind because I have a shield and a helm?
So those will just add to your armor. So if he was going to make a piercing blow, that's when the armor would come into play.
Okay.
But you're going to take 14 damage, so I will add that onto you. So he absolutely just wails on you. You've still got quite a few hit points, not enough to make it super bad, but you're running close to. So this will be good. This is another example of one of the mechanics of the game. Let me give you 14 damage. So right now you are at 13 hit points. And your load, like the gear that you're carrying, is 9. So if your load is equal to your endurance, or if your endurance drops below your load, you become weary, which then when you roll the 6-sided die, if it's a 1, 2, or a 3, you'll see when you roll them, they're outlined, they're not solid. If you're weary, they count as 0 if it's a 1, 2, or 3. So you will become weary before you... or it will say when you're weary, and then it will automatically do that for you. But I don't think he's going to be alive to see that happen. Let's go to the next round of combat. Malvagil, you are up.
Could be it.
Wow.
You can...
Very nice.
Yeah, you can do that great success to add your strength, which is 7, and you already do...
Well, could I make that a piercing roll?
So you
I got a 9 on my
so you
die.
yep, so you rolled a 9. So instead of doing that, you can make that a piercing roll. So he will have to make a protection roll. So let me do that for him. So that's the case where you can do that. And it would actually, with your spear, I think it adds 3, so it makes it like a 12. But you just need to roll, or you need to get it to 10. So let me give him a roll here. And he gets a 20, so he succeeds. So it's not a piercing roll. You don't get to add your strength bonus because you use it to make it a piercing attempt, which was still really good. But he's going to take your weapon damage to his hit points, and we will go to Rathar as I assign that damage.
All right. Gotta jab him again.
It seems to be working.
So if I use a hope point, I just do the hope point bonus die thing. That's all.
Yeah, so you'll just click on that, and it will automatically deduct a hope from you. You have a distinctive feature of Furious. Oh, well, you don't need it, but you could use it. When you're wounded, of course you're not wounded, so actually never mind. You can't use that. Never mind. But you still got a great success. So
I have like a special menu thing.
Yeah.
Special successes usage. I didn't see that before.
So you should be able to use that to do like a heavy blow. It should say like submit, and then it will
Yeah.
automatically apply that and tell me how much
Yeah,
damage.
sure.
So 8 damage. Excellent. Blaine, you are up. This guy just absolutely walloped you, and you're trying not to show how hurt you are. This knocked the wind out of you and maybe fractured a rib, but you're not going to let this affect you until after the battle's over. You see your opening, you go at him with your sword. Do you want to change your stance to a more defensive stance, or do you want to stick with forward stance?
I do not. I'm sticking with a forward stance, and with a thunderous dwarven battle cry, I leap at him and swing my sword.
Excellent. And you hit for 4 damage. Oh man, he's so close. Lothariel, you might be able to take him out.
Bring us home.
Yeah. So she's taking another shot with the bow. And I think just taking hope point
Spend
again.
hope on there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Would she be inspired because she's the
Because it's a
she
troll.
has the
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yep. So you can click on the
Yeah.
inspired button.
Yeah.
So that's one of your distinctive features is like the troll
Yeah.
lore.
Oh.
So an extraordinary
So-
success. So you'll be able to add double your strength onto this. That's
Very
going to
nice.
be more than enough. So tell me, Lothariel, how this troll dies.
Yeah, I think she's just shooting right through the left eye
Oh, nice.
with the bow.
Piercing blow through the left eye. And as you are celebrating your successes at seeing this, pair of foes go down, you see the biggest troll you've ever seen lumber down, screaming at you. My boys! My boys! She cries, and she prepares to join the fight. Before we get there, let's go back to our little hobbit. So, little hobbit, you are on the raft. You have made it back. You get the mother into the raft. Give me another athletics roll with a bonus die because she'll be able to help you.
I will also use hope on this.
Perfect. Oh, little hobbit. You get the mother back to the shore, and she hugs her children, hugs you. Tears are flowing. Anything else you want to do? You can hear the sounds of shouting and combat far off in the distance.
I probably want to get them to a safe place.
So there is it looks like an old ruined farmhouse just to the south of the lake. You want to take them to that farmhouse?
Sure.
Okay. As you lead the way there, you have this feeling, this sense of justice, of having done something truly just in your life. And, you've been teased by myself in the game for being kind of a chubby little kitty cat that just wants to eat treats and lay
Right.
around all day. But you have shown your mettle. You've bravely gone single-handedly to this lake, swam across, seen this massive troll come out, and still gone back across the lake to do this duty. And you are a changed hobbit from this day forward.
Nice.
We go back into combat. Let's go back to Malvagil. You see Nellie, the mother, coming down this little valley. You can go first. Do you want to maintain your forward stance? You want to change stances?
Well, would we have an opening volley first, or are we just right into
No,
combat?
you're going to be still in combat. She kind of snuck in as the killing blows were falling.
Yeah, I'll keep my stance.
Okay, you can go ahead. You can change your target and make a roll. And then Rathar, you can go as well. Nice. That is a success with your weapon. Rathar, you're up next. You want to keep your stance where it's at?
Yes.
Okay.
But he'll follow the lead of the ranger in this thing. Oh.
Nice. It'll attack for 8. For some reason, Nelly does not let me add to her points here.
She's figured out immortality.
I know, right? There we go. Well, not 5. Come on. There we go. Okay, and then Blaine, you are up next. Want to stay in forward stance, or do you want to go more defensive since you've taken a pretty good beating?
Yeah, I do want to fall back to defensive.
Okay, so let me adjust that for you. That will automatically take 1 away from your attacks, but give Nelly 1 less on hers when she tries to attack you.
Okay. Oh, lost my target. There we go. Because we're all so close together, do we have the ability to use support from a companion, or would that take from someone else?
So that would take your action, but you could do that.
I'll wait on that.
Okay.
Oh. Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss. Lothariel, you change your bow from the dead troll to the living troll.
Yeah. I have a question. What is
Yes.
the two-handed virtue?
So that means that when you do special damage in combat, like when you roll 6s, and you can add your strength, it'll add 1 additional.
One more.
to that,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah, she's attacking with the bow, and
Perfect.
I need to target.
You can use hope if you like.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, we'll use a hope point, and then I'm getting the inspired again
Perfect.
because it's still a troll. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yep.
Well done. Strike for 3 damage. Let me get that marked off here.
Is the mother troll stronger, greater than the
Yes,
two?
she is bigger, stronger, and more deadly. And
Okay.
this first attack roll for her, she has a special ability. This will be favored. She does not have the hatred of the dwarves. She's going to go after who she thinks is the most powerful, and she thinks that's Rathar. So she's going to go after Rathar.
Oh.
So this roll will be favored. And that is a hit for 6 damage. Let me go ahead and apply that to Rathar.
Overall, not really that terrible.
There we go. And we
Yep.
go back to...
That comes off our endurance, yes?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
We go back to Malvagil. You want to stay in the same stance, Malvagil, or you're just throwing
yes.
down? Nice. Okay, and you got 2 successes, so you can't make this piercing because you rolled so bad on the feat die, but you can add your strength bonus twice if you want to do that for 23 damage. That is impressive. Where do you hit her with this spear to do that amount of damage?
I think right in the belly.
She is below half. You guys are making short work of my enemies here. Rathar, she crushed you in her big sweaty arms, but you managed to wrench yourself free. You can go ahead and make another attack. You want to stay in that forward stance? Do you want to change your stance? Are you there, Luke?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
perfect. Did you want to change your stance or keep it as a forward
I
stance?
think I'll keep it consistent. Now I'm mad at her. She's wacky.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. What was that?
No, I'll keep the same stance.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Go ahead and make your attack. Nice. Deal 8 damage. So that automatically added your bonus to that. So that is nice. And Blaine, you are up, and then Lothariel.
Back to a forward stance.
You got it. Yeah, you smell blood here.
Yeah, dwarven women find scars sexy and songs of glory are sung forever.
Nice. Oh, okay. This might be a piercing blow. Let me have her make a protection roll.
Ooh.
She is protected, but she's still going to take damage. So that's going to be 4 damage on there. Let me get that.
Now, as this damage is adding up, can we see... what are we seeing from her?
She is badly wounded. Likely one more round is going to finish her off. Lothariel, your turn.
Yeah, she strikes with the bow again, I guess.
Go for it.
Yep. Using a hope point again.
Excellent. Oh, another piercing roll. Sweet.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And you have 2 bonus die. So that's going to do... Okay, that's going to do a ton of damage. So your strength bonus is 4. So that's going to do, what, an extra 8. Plus your weapon does... what does that do? 3. So that's going to do, 11 damage. And then needs to make or 15 damage. And then needs to make...
It's 15.
Yeah. 15 damage. Needs to make a protection roll.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wounded. Sweet. All right, let me give her the 15 damage.
Oh wow, great shot.
Yeah, where does this shot land?
I think this one is going into one of the legs.
Ooh, maybe it hits her like in the knee, and she drops to a knee.
Oh yeah, in the knee. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she drops to a knee, grabbing at the wound, but taking a swipe at Malvagil. Hit her for the most damage last turn. She's going to go for Malvagil.
You used to be an adventurer like you, Lothriel. Yeah, someone had to say it.
Let's get this on here. Crush. And she's going to spend a hate point on here. No. It's already factored in. There we go. Ooh. She deals a heavy blow. 15 damage. I'll go ahead and assign that to you. To Malvagil. You are also close to your load. Your load is 10, and you're at 12 hit points. So you are almost made weary. But I don't think Nellie's going to last. Malvagil, can you finish Nellie off? She has 4 hit points. She also has 1 wound.
You got this.
Okay. How do you dispatch Nellie Longarms?
I think she gave me a pretty good hit, so I think I'll just return it. And since she had to make herself vulnerable to hit me, so I think I'll drive it right up through her neck.
Nice.
Let me change out of combat music to some sort of heroic, successful music. Maybe not Galactic Slumber. Let's let's change back to our map here. The trolls have fallen. Drogo has rescued the family. You head into the troll lair and you find the piles of bones, and you find that there has been many adventurers that have fallen here. You find a small hoard called a lesser hoard of treasure. To determine the amount of treasure that you find for a lesser hoard, let me go through the procedure here with you. You will you roll one success die, the six-sided die, and you multiply it by the number of heroes in the company. So 1d6. Oh, so if I type it right without a space, let's try that again. So 15 points of treasure. So everyone could essentially take 3 treasures. Each one counts as a load. So actually, if Malvagil took his share, he would be weary. But you probably don't want to camp here where the trolls live because it's really smelly. But after a nice peaceful rest, you're going to recover all of your endurance. Your hope, you recover that much more slowly. In fact, typically only when you're done adventuring and you have downtime is when you'll start to recover hope. And you will recover that at the rate of whatever your heart score is, which is the number in the little box under your heart. You will recover that every time you have kind of it's called a fellowship phase, sort of downtime. But you're each going to have found some treasure. Now we also get to check for, and this is just an unspecified amount of silver, gold, and gems, but we also get to determine if there's any magical treasure in here. And so to do this, I roll 2 of the feat die. Gandalf and Eye runes correspond to finding treasure. And so for a lesser hoard, we're going to roll 2 of these. And if we get a Gandalf or an Eye rune, which we did not, so there's no magical treasure. But had we found some magical treasure, I have a little table here of treasure I have created, and some of these things would just add bonuses, like if you're using a skill, how Malvagil used his salt to make his hunting roll a little better. It would add 2 dice to whatever the skill is, and some of these are famous weapons that have like additional features and things like that. But we weren't able to find any magical treasure, just lots and lots of loot. Now, having survived the ordeal of the Hidden Valley, you travel back to the welcoming lights of Bree. Some key questions have to be answered. What becomes of Diarmok? The trolls have been defeated as the family settled in the Hidden Valley, making use of that small farmhouse that Drogo took the family to. What about Jari? Do you bring him to justice? Let's just do kind of an epilogue. Let's say 6 months from now. I'm going to let Rathar. What happens to Jari?
I think it's pretty easy to say that Rathar at least would insist on bringing him to justice. He wouldn't really know any kind of like local authorities, but I'm sure.
Would you take him back to Bree?
Yeah, I think Bree would be the obvious choice, and they're the ones who know him, right? So
yeah,
he's already got a reputation. It's kind of a kangaroo court, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, they call upon some of his known associates, and they ask Blaine, do you stand for this man? Is he worthy of punishment, or should we show leniency to this man? As a fellow dwarf, what would you see done to this man?
I would cast him out of my mountain. He deserves no mercy.
And 6 months from now, you see Jari laying on the side of the road, having been robbed and beaten by highwaymen, getting his just deserts. And as he lays there bleeding, someone walks by and sees him and just continues on their path. As far as Diarmok and his family, Drogo, what happens to Diarmok and his family?
Well, I would say they are settled in the farmhouse, and they've kind of recovered from their trauma, their traumatic experience, I guess, and they're starting to kind of rebuild their lives, I guess.
Yeah, maybe you you see kind of a bird's eye view of the valley there, and now where there was a swamp, maybe they've got some plants growing there, and they've dug out a small patch of ground where they've got a little garden. Lothariel, you noticed that before there were no trees in this area. I would like to think that perhaps you troll-proof or try to recover this area from the trolls. How would you go about either making this more hospitable to creatures other than trolls or erasing whatever the troll menace had been here? What would Lothariel do?
That's a good question. Yeah, probably would be good to try to planting some trees and cleaning out the ruins to yeah from all the troll dirt, let's say,
Yeah, you
to
remove
have these
all of their
yeah
refuse and trash, and you maybe lay the bones that look to be, human. Maybe you bury them, and you
yeah
plant a small forest of trees in these areas that have only known torment for the last several months. And
yep
Malvagil, you you head out into the wilds again. Never one to linger in one place for too long. 6 months from now, where are you, and what is something of note that has happened to you?
So I think I've probably reported what's been going on to some of my fellow rangers, and there's probably a heavier patrol of the area around the hidden valley. Keep trolls and other evil things out of the area.
Yeah, in fact, maybe 6 months from now, you happen to meet up with Lothariel and discuss the area and where the current menace of the trolls lies further to the north, and you begin to make plans to scour the lands of all the troll kind and drive them back north from whence they came. And as the two of you uh, gather up your gear to head north to go and take out the trolls, you share a moment. Maybe you stop and you grab your left shoulder that still pains you from time to time where you were crushed in the grip of Nellie Longarms. But what you are doing matters, and the life of a ranger is to serve and protect, even though you are often unappreciated in these lands. And you take solace in knowing that you are doing the honorable and right thing. And as the scene fades down, the two of you are walking off into the woods, and you hear the cry of a curlew off in the distance. And as this happens, the scene fades, the adventure comes to an end as that curlew's cry echoes out across the lands. And that is the end of the adventure of a troll hole, if ever there was one. I want to thank everybody for playing. I had a blast. This ended very differently from the last couple times I've gone through here. You guys just slaughtered the trolls. That doesn't always happen. So, well done. Any questions about the game or about the experience, or you know, like was Diarmok telling the truth, or what was Jari's motive? Anything like that? I can set your mind at
If
ease.
if this was a campaign instead of a one shot, would we be able to improve anything of our character
Yes.
sheets?
So what would happen is you would get some points for completing. This is called the adventuring phase. For completing the adventuring phase, you would receive. There's skill points and adventure points, and you would get basically 3 skill points and 3 adventure points. And then during the fellowship phase, like basically when you're back at the tavern and resting, you can spend those to increase your skills. And there's a chart that kind of talks about how much that costs. I'm trying to see if I've got it in. Yeah, so it's in the cheat sheets thing. There's a fellowship phase, and it talks about how to increase it. So if you want to increase a skill, if you want to gain a new skill, it costs you 4 points. If you want to increase a skill from level 1 to level 2, it would cost you 8 points. From 2 to 3 would be 12 points. And so you can hoard these and then spend them when you want to, or you can just kind of start adding skills as you go. You can also increase your valor and your wisdom. I think valor only came into play once, and that was to combat the shadow, the dread from hearing Diarmok talk about his family. But as those go up, you get more rewards, like the keen. Basically, you come into, you're gifted a reward by your your patron. And in this adventure, our patron is Bilbo, and Bilbo just sends us out, in search of treasure and adventure and things like that. But Bilbo might give you quests like, hey, I heard, there's something going on over here. Why don't you guys go check it out? And then you head off over there, have adventures, and come back. And once a year, you have Yule, where at Yule, you recover like all of your hope points. You can do like little special missions like to really boost your skills, or hear rumors, or get more tasks from your patron, and then you're able to gain additional skills as well at Yule time. And then you just kind of go on and on. So basically, there's no levels. You just are improving your skills and improving your chances of success. And then the one of the things that comes into effect is that shadow is as you begin to do heroic deeds, Mordor begins to take interest in you, and you might begin to get some eye points and some shadow points, and bad things start to be attracted to you because you've built up a reputation. And so now, rather than going to look for adventure will find you. But that's essentially it. That's how you'll improve, is just improving incrementally, skill by skill, and then getting new gear. I mean, maybe you find something in a troll horde or other treasure areas.
And this takes place between the Hobbit and the Fellowship.
Yep. So this is like almost smack dab in the middle of it. So Drogo would know who Bilbo was. He's that crazy hobbit that left for a while and came back, and he's just kind of weird, and he seems to have lots of money and strange items. The Rangers are slowly becoming aware of a growing threat in the south and in the east, and that there's wars and rumors of wars and things going on. So it's kind of smack dab in between those two stories, and you just have a chance to kind of say, hey, what goes on in the time between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings? And you can have different patrons like Bilbo, Gandalf, Saruman, Balin can be one of your patrons, and they just send you on different adventures and different quests.
One more question about that then. Is there a possibility to build a party and have an adventure on behalf of Sauron? Can you do an evil party?
They don't have that in the book.
Okay.
You probably could.
Homebrew it.
Yeah, you would have to homebrew that. They just came out with a book on Moria, like a Moria source book, and it's got tons of adventures and maps. Like you can fight the Balrog and things like that.
Oh.
But there's nothing as far as like playing a servant of Mordor.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a couple different books. I think there's still the Humble Bundle going on right now for the One Ring, and you can get most of the books. The Moria book's not included in there, but like the book that has this adventure, Tales from the Lone Lands, is included in there. The rule books are absolutely gorgeous, like just incredibly well done. The paper feels amazing. They're easy to read. They're not complicated. They're a little bit kind of scattered here and there. As far as finding a rule is a little tough, but like reading the rules and understanding it is super easy. And it's got a really cool art style. I mean, it's Free League. It's really well done, quality wise and whatnot. Any other questions about the One Ring? I'm going to go ahead. This is not so far. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'll get this posted tonight, and I'll post the link. You all are welcome to watch it. And I want to thank everyone for playing. And Shogaki, I hope I get to play with you again. I run a lot of Mothership and Dragonbane and Call of Cthulhu, and I've got some, like Old Gods of Appalachia coming up, and a couple other things, and I hope to see you on another game. If I have earned a 5-star review, I hope you'll give me one. You should get a survey from Start Playing. If I haven't, talk to me. Let me know how I can improve and make it a better experience for you. But you're welcome to stick around on the Discord, and hopefully we can get you into another game soon.